the first goal here of the hockey game.
Our guys did not get rattled, just went out and played, and then we score a huge goal to tie it up.
Gets in tight, picked up, shot, scored!
Oh, I'm back in another till it's gone, gone, gone. We're gonna turn it up, keep the party going on and on.
Throws it high on the blue line, ready to shoot, scores!
We had some desperation to our game. Guys were physical, guys were working.
Team emotions are high. Obviously, the stakes are very high when you're playing for a trophy.
It was an absolute grind and an absolute battle to the very end.
And the Toronto Marlies are going to take a 2-game-1 lead in the Calder Cup final.
From Cedar Park, Texas, it's Game 4 of the Calder Cup Championship. The Toronto Marlies and the Texas Stars, and the Marlies up 2-1. And for this Toronto team, Kings of the Road might apply. A record-setting 30 wins in the regular season. Toronto has won its last 5 games in foreign territory. The toughest test might await tonight. Cedar Park, Texas, 6,400 strong. Another sellout here to watch their Texas Stars take on the Toronto Marlies. Hi, everyone, and yes, welcome to Toasty, Texas. The Marlies have been a healthy team these playoffs, and one had thought that Frederick Gauthier, who was injured on Tuesday night, might not be able to go tonight. He is healthy and ready to play. For the other team, the Texas Stars, well, they're looking for some offensive pop, and Dennis Gurianov, who celebrates a birthday here today and scored 19 goals in the regular season, will get to play here tonight. The last 2 games have been decided by identical 2-1 scores, 2 different teams, 2 similar results and mirror images of each other.
Yeah, I think so. You know, both teams defend very well, defend hard, competitive, don't give a lot of space or opportunity for plays to develop. So I think that's what we've seen here. And really, I mean, I think Game 1 was certainly an anomaly. So, you know, a lot of crazy goals, special teams, all those types of things. But how things have gone here of late, we think, is what we expected more of the series and what you expect this time of year.
It's been a 4-line series. I know their top line had 11 points in the first 2 games, just 2 shots in Game 3. But what was applied to that top line? Is that the same for the remaining 3 lines as far as the approaches from Toronto?
Yeah, it is absolutely a 4-line series here. I don't know, or I don't care who you're out against. You have to be prepared to go out there and win your shift. Otherwise, you know, the other team generates momentum and starts to wear you down, and that's when mistakes start to happen. So, you know, we need everybody to be playing. We need to make sure that we're engaged shift to shift, play to play on every puck. And, you know, we've got a lot of that in Game 3, and we're going to need more of it.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned last week prior to the series starting, your club's not one that ever gets rattled. How challenging a situation is this here tonight in a pivotal Game 4?
Well, it's a pivotal game, obviously, being down 2-1 in the series. And if you look at Game 3, you know, just listening to Sheldon talk, you know, he liked the way his club played after losing Game 2 in their building, and you know, I'm hoping for the same response here with our team tonight. I thought Toronto was the better team in Game 3, and I expect our guys to give a better effort tonight. Obviously, it's a critical game, and the last thing we want to do is go down 3-1 in the series. We'd like to have it 2-2 after Game 4, and then try and get up 3-2 after Game 5. So it's a critical game tonight.
Defensive chipped in with 3 goals and 3 assists in this series. What did you see on your particular play to score the game-winning goal? Was it just a matter of trying to get the puck on net?
Yeah, I mean, had a lot of meetings trying to get the puck to net and get the middle of the ice, and yesterday it worked out perfect, and that's something we have to keep working on and not get the shots blocked.
You're seeing this team grow as the postseason goes on. Now here for 3 games, and there's a comfort playing on the road as tough as it is here.
Yeah, I mean, we've been good on the road the whole year, and it feels really good to keep that going in playoffs. And as I said before, it's just for us to get the work done in 2 games now.
Pick up game number 3 in the Calder Cup final. The starting goalies for tonight's game number 4, Garrett Sparks and Mike McKenna, both have been good, Bob.
Yeah, they really have. And if you look at the last 2 games, both 2-1 hockey games, so each goaltender has given up 3 goals over the course of the 2 games. And this is going to be some pressure on both these guys in this one here this evening.
Frederick Gauthier in the lineup. He was knocked out of game number 3 early, and the Marlies finished with 1 less forward. And Frederick Gauthier will find himself back in the lineup tonight, and he would have been a valuable piece to go missing, Bob.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think he's played his best hockey of his career in this Calder Cup playoff run here by the Toronto Marlies, and it's great to see the big man back in, centering the shade line, as we've called them, all Calder Cup playoffs on, and great to see that he's back at it, because I think that he has been instrumental with the success of that line.
Well, the coaches tonight, as always, Sheldon Keefe for the Toronto Marlies. He's pretty happy and loose about his club, and not only their chances, but how they've been playing.
No question about it. I just love the demeanor of Sheldon, and I think it's gone right through his hockey club. And a big reason why they've been so successful on the road as they get set here in game number 4.
Derek Laxdell, the coach of the Texas Stars, he knows what winning is at this point in the season. He's done it before at different levels. Yep. Not here in the American Hockey League. Things just a little bit different. Deep into the spring, the Marlies and the Stars. Game 4, let's get at some hockey as Garrett Sparks plays it off into the corner. Justin Hall up the boards, finding Colin Greening, and along for Pierre Engvall. He's got some speed. He hangs up into Frederick Gauthier, and a backhand by the big man, and McKenna comes up with the save. Morin trying to move it along past Gauthier. He gets a stick on it again, and it falls into the feet, and Gauthier falls to it as it's lifted back up, but not out. Engvall picks it up, throws one at the goal, and into the boards it goes. In the corner, Greening, he plays it off as the Marlies making changes and backing off in the process. Mangine plays it to the far side. Bayreuther after it. Janssen gets a touch on it to keep it in. Altonen comes in too. He kicks it loose, and the two of them a little in-tight pitch and catch. Back to Altonen. Out front, he's got Grundstrom, and Mangine with a block out front. That saves Carl Grundstrom from a sure one. Here's Grundstrom back out. Altonen up high. Dermott captures it, throws it toward the goal, and it is McKenna who grabs it up and hangs on.
Well, 1 minute and 10 seconds into the hockey game, this is exactly what the Toronto Marlies wanted to do. They wanted to have a good start, and that first shift, the Gauthier line gets things going, and then right away they get a change, and the top line with Altonen and Grundstrom and Janssen right back at it again, and a good shot by Travis Dermott forces McKenna to have to come up with a good save. 2 shots on goal in that first minute and 10 seconds for Toronto.
Altonen off the draw, goes into the corner and over the far side. Cross ice. Given up and put into the zone. Loverde takes a look, and he and Sparks a little bit crossed up. Picked up, but then taken away by Janssen as he works back with Grundstrom onto the backhand. Grundstrom cuts in on goal, and Grundstrom with a great chance. Turned aside by McKenna. Here's Rope Hintz. Looks in and takes a shot, clatters off the glass, and the Texas Stars get into the Toronto zone. Dickinson working it back behind the goal to Flynn. He didn't have anybody up on the wing, and Grundstrom plays it right back out. He'll go off, and Marchman is on forechecking. Cross ice. That one tipped at the line, but not out. Brooks moves it along. Liljegren looking for Trevor Moore. Liljegren steps into it. He tried to find Brooks coming back out of the zone. Moore there to back it up, and now he steps his way through the middle, and Trevor Moore races after it down the boards and sends it to the far side where Brooks gets a touch. Moore again, looking back up high to Liljegren. No, he finds Rosen, throws it at the goal, and that is snapped up by McKenna.
Well, I know that Sheldon Keefe certainly talked about getting their speed game going and then getting in the offensive zone and controlling the puck. And a little bit earlier, the Grundstrom trance, as he goes wide around the defense, and he kind of loses control as he tries to cut in front of the goaltender McKenna. And then at the end of the play, another shot from the blue line, and Carl Grundstrom, who's been held without a point in the first 3 games of this Calder Cup final, looking to get on the board, and that's the way you get things going with a terrific first shift.
Here's Mueller out with Smith and Timashov, as they have been all playoffs long. Up ahead to Curtis McKenzie. He sends it in. Dowling goes after it, so does Liljegren. They bang up along the end boards. McKenzie takes his man down. Liljegren trying to get back to it. Mueller, a little touch to knock it up, but not out, and in on Sparks. Rebound to Sparks, scrambling, picked up, and it is whistled dead.
Well, the official thought that Sparks, when he got out of that butterfly position and jumped on and tried to pounce on that loose puck, he thought he had the puck, so he blew it dead, and Sparks lost control of it, and Travis Moore looked like he may have had an empty net. He bobbled it, but the whistle did go. But it starts, though, with a good job by the shot from the point. It's tipped first by Dowling, and then the second opportunity by Curtis McKenzie. And at the end of it all, it's Moore who picks up that loose puck, because Sparks thought he was going to grab it, but McKenzie had his stick in there, and he pried it out of there. But Terry Koharski, the official, blew it dead.
Herman South, the other referee in this one, and knocked back, past Marinton, in a lone shot, stopped by Sparks. Gauthier out of the corner moves it quickly, as the Marlies netminder has to make a couple of stops.
I'll tell you, what an opportunity for the Texas Stars to get out on the board again, and this time it's Colin Markison in all
Greening
alone.
coming
He
back
can't
across
beat
the line. He lifts one down into the corner. Greening after it some more, and Engvall comes away with it. Engvall dipping back. He's got Gauthier there, but he rolls to the blue line. Now Dermott waits, shoots, and it's blocked as Fighton picks it up and comes back through the middle. Bayreuther by himself, and they relieve him of the puck as the Stars were making a change. Dermott back in as Grundstrom at the blue line. Got it across briefly. Altonen brings it back to his defenseman, Vincent Loverde. Back at the line, a little miscue by Janssen, and it is tipped back in. Here's Rope Hintz cutting back toward the goal, but Dermott got on top of it, knocked it away, and now he and Loverde. Ranielli, he hasn't minded throwing the body around in this series. Altonen across the line with Janssen. Dishes it back in. Altonen was in close, but didn't get a touch. Rosen toward the goal, blocked out front. As this one comes back through the middle. Doesn't get far before Rosen picks it up and finds some speed. Down the left wing, shot, right on, rebound. Brooks is there. And it is McKenna's helmet that comes off, his mask to the ground. And we get a whistle.
Both goaltenders have had to come up with big saves in this one, but the Texas Stars have a break, and it's a turnover in the neutral zone, and off to the races is number 12, Colin Markison, and he has got some tremendous speed as he gets by the defender. He tries to go 5-hole on Garrett Sparks, but Sparks turns him aside, and again, you just see his ability to explode after stopping and starting and separate himself and get in the open. And this is not the first time in this series that he's had an opportunity by himself one-on-one with Garrett Sparks, and Sparks has got his number without question so far in this series, as Markison been held off the sheet.
Now McKenna's mask is fixed. He comes back into the goal to rejoin the play. Adam Brooks. This line never been good, especially in the last minute or two of both first and second periods in game number 3. They brought a lot of energy and created some good opportunities. Sheldon Dries opposite, wins that one into the wall. Marchment sends it back up. Having to back up, Rosen. Gurianov races in. He's into this series for the first time on his birthday, no less, as he tries to get it back up high. Scarlett keeps it in at the blue line, lifted towards the goal and tipped, but not toward the goal. Back up it comes. Looking down toward the goal, side of the goal, it pops out. Marchment tries to shovel it back out, and another one hard to the goal, but just wide of the mark. Brooks plays it along to the far side, Moore chasing after it. And another one launched, and Sparks this time reaches out the glove and grabs it.
Well, the Texas Stars and Derek Blackstall saying that they needed to establish some offensive zone pressure and puck possession to try and generate some offensive chances here on home ice after they only scored 1 goal in that 2-1 loss in game 3. And a terrific job that last shift of applying the pressure, coming up with some opportunities on the goal. And Garrett Sparks again with another good save to keep this a scoreless hockey game.
Gauthier up against Dowling, who will be asked to leave. Travis Morin comes in. Gauthier wins that to the wall as Dermott picks it up. Quickly trying to find Engvall. Kept in by the Stars. And centered out, but off Sparks, and now Dermott back along for Engvall. He cuts through the middle, and he is relieved of it by Mangine. Lifted up, but not out, as Gauthier got the big mid up to keep it in. The work along the wall comes loose, and Gavin Bayreuther moves it. Here's McKenzie back through the middle, trying to find Dowling. It rolls into the Toronto zone, right deep in the corner. Gauthier back after it. Greening lifts it out of the zone. Engvall trying to get a hold of it as they turn it around. Morin is backing up, and now Engvall is in a bit of a conversation there with Dylan Hetherington, and it gets resolved as Engvall goes to the bench. Hard back into the Toronto zone. Marincin plays it back up, but not out. Lifted towards the goal, loose out front, and it is Smith who protects it for the Marlies. So he lifts it back out into center ice. Timashov was upended by Regner. And once again, the Stars get a hold of it. Doing some traffic direction, the Stars at the moment, as they getting some chances inside the Toronto zone. Stepping away, Liljegren from the hit. Mueller back out into center. Scarlett lifts a long one in on Sparks, and he sends it right back out. Timashov trying to play it. Scarlett waiting for his man to come back onside. And again, sent back up. Liljegren hit hard, shot right on, and Sparks comes up with the save. Garrett Sparks has had to be good in this first period, facing 5 shots from the Texas Stars. We'll be back with Scotiabank Toronto Marlies playoff hockey.
Hey Leafs Nation, join me every single week for LTV Throwback, where we dig deep into the Leafs TV vault, bringing you the very best of Leafs news and documentary programming through the ages.
We are one nation. We are one team. And we stand witness. Molson Canadian. A taste of who we are.
Turn your fantasy into reality. You could earn a chance to win Toronto Maple Leafs season tickets for 2018-2019. Visit mbna.ca/Leafs for full contest rules.
Well, Toronto goaltender Garrett Sparks, a terrific regular season in which he had 31 victories, but it was that 1.79 goals against and a .936 save percentage which won him the Baz Bastian Award for the top goaltender in the AHL, and he's been that good in the Calder Cup playoffs as well. .921 save percentage coming into this one here. Game number 4 of the Calder Cup Finals, trying to backstop his club to a 3-1 advantage in this series here in game number 4.
Vince will come out. Ellie will come in. Ben Smith will win it back, and Marincin will come right to it. Along the near side, Moore lifting it back up and out. Justin Hall down the left side as he tries to cut in. He was looking for a little bit of help. Chris Mueller had taken the draw and then went to the bench. And Marchment and Moore out with Adam Brooks. Ellie turns around, cross ice. Moore trying to step in the way of it. Lifted down into the far corner, and Brooks will go after it there, but Marincin helping out, back out front, turnaround shot, and that one goes out of play. As Remi Ellie, he's been thundering around the ice for these Texas Stars.
Yeah, you know what? I like what I've seen from him. He spent 72 games up with the Dallas Stars this year, 6 goals, 14 points. And, you know, he is a guy, a former second-round pick of the Stars back in 2013, and the Cornwall, Ontario native has really shown his speed, and he's got some physical abilities too at 210 pounds. And I think that's a lot of good things for him, as he's been dangerous in this series.
Mason Marchment along the near wall, plays it up but not out. All the way back for Hall as he turns on it and looks up ice, finding Moore, who cuts across the blue line, looking out front. Hall out front, following on the play was Marchment. Hall right back to it, getting it down to Moore as he turns around, sending it back out on a centering pass that does not quite get to Adam Brooks. All the way back into the Toronto zone as Hall skates back. Now Dermott through the middle is Greening. Will just send it in, and Engvall will get after it. McKenna moves it along, and Greening right after it as Mangine was trying to move that one, but didn't have an eye on who was coming after it. Right back through the middle. Here's a chance, cutting back in. Dowling working back, but Gauthier with a good defensive play to break it up on McKenzie. Engvall comes back off the wall, takes an awkward fall off the hit, and now Gauthier works back, cuts in. Frederick Gauthier lifts it up and over the goal.
Well, again, using his reach to his advantage. A nice little move, curl and drag around the defender, and then he gets that shot away and just goes up high as the goaltender McKenna fighting it off.
Cross ice, Loverde and Rosen up, tipped in by Grundstrom. Boy, he's got wheels tonight. And now Altonen along the near side. Grundstrom from behind the goal. He cuts back into the corner, centering it back out. Picked up Rosen toward the goal, but it's blocked and now lifted out into center. The Marlies right there as Grundstrom and Hall trying to get it back across the line. Hall will get a penalty. We didn't see a lot of those in the third game, first game here in Texas. And a tripping call is the first penalty of the hockey game, and it'll go to the Toronto Marlies.
Well, the Texas Stars only had one penalty against them in game number 3, and here in game number 4, the first one is going to go against the Toronto Marlies, and it was a tripping call the other night, and here again, this time it's going against Justin Hall of the Toronto Marlies, reaching with his stick, and he takes Markison down, and as a result, the Texas Stars will go to the power play. They're 24% throughout the course of the Calder Cup playoffs. They are 3 for 7 against the Marlies through the first 2 games, as they didn't get an opportunity at all in game number 3.
High on the line, back over Regner. Morin mishandled it, and it comes back out into center ice. They'll have to regain the zone. Dowling lifts it easily into the corner. Marincin picks it up, but that one is offside. There seems to be a little bit of complaint here from the Marlies as well.
Well, they thought that they had good possession of the puck and they didn't allow them to ice it. Instead, they blew it down because the Stars were still pursuing the puck carrier, Martin Marincin.
Off the draw. This time Marincin does, with some authority, send it down the length of the ice. Ben Smith out for checking with Colin Greening. Loverde and Marincin back on D as they bring it back across the line, leading it back in tight on Sparks, out front. What a chance! An open net for Travis Morin, and he couldn't get the shot away. And now here comes Loverde with Smith, shoots, no rebound, but boy, Ben Smith and Colin Greening were both right there. McKenna could not afford to give an inch.
Well, at one end of the ice, a terrific opportunity as Dowling feeds Morin, but he was losing his balance as he goes to get that puck to fire it. And right back the other way, Vincent Loverde, he's the right-hand shot coming down that left side, so the stick towards the middle. He's got Smith going hard to the goal, the stick on the ice. He elects to shoot the puck, and a big save by McKenna, not allowing a rebound. As you said, Todd, Ben Smith was right there on the top of the blue paint, and you had Colin Greening also there looking for the rebound.
Well, the Marlies with an offensive zone draw with one less offensive player. Johnson had to take it as Gauthier was tossed out, and now they'll back up as the power play of the Stars exits the zone. They drive speed, Dickinson across the line, but again, they're offside.
Well, the Marlies, I know that Coach Sheldon Keefe said that, the special teams have to get the job done. Their power plays played okay for them, but their penalty killing, you've given up 3 goals on 7 opportunities through those first 2 games. It needs to get the job done if they want to win another game here in Texas this evening. And I like the way they stacked up the defensive blue line and forced the offside in that rush up the ice by the Stars.
They don't like the way that one went. And this Texas crowd, they're not fond of officiating. And even though there was only 1 penalty in the last game, they let the referees know.
Yeah, they were some cheesed off, weren't they?
Oh, they were. They were. It was late in the game, too. Gauthier. Off the draw, picked up, and right back out. Marincin clearing it down the ice. Halfway into this first period and 20 seconds more. A minute to go on the power play here for the Stars. And at the blue line, it is in, but offside.
Well, both of these coaches, they do such a good job of dissecting the game. Yeah. And then you go over different plays over and over again to make sure that, you have your players well informed of what each team is going to do, and it's a real chess match, no question about it. And looking like the Toronto Marlies have figured out a better way of stacking up that blue line, or the blue line, and not allowing the Stars speed and taking easy possession into the offensive zone on their power play.
Fighting Dowling along the boards, cutting in close. Back up it comes. Dowling at the blue line, drifts in to the near side. Morin, shot up high, it goes out front, scores. A power play goal, another one, but this time the first one of the hockey game as the Texas Stars take a 1-0 lead over the Marlies. 32 seconds left to go in the penalty to Justin Hall.
Well, it's Justin Dowling who's going to be the guy who gets this goal. He starts the play, I believe, where he's going to move the puck over to Morin, and then it's Morin with the shot, and it actually hits his own player in Brian Flynn. And oh, you're right, it is Curtis McKenzie who comes in late. I thought it was a backhand by Dowling who swats it in, but it is Curtis McKenzie, and the captain of this Texas Stars team strikes again, and he has been tremendous in this series, and his 3rd goal of the series in 4 games, and the Texas Stars have drawn first blood. It's 1-0.
Lifted back out. Calle Rosen up ice, Marchment. Back over for Liljegren as he plays it along, Brooks. The Texas Stars pick up the first goal of the hockey game. That has usually been a good thing. Not in this series. Cutting back towards the goal was Adam Brooks. Bodnerchuk moves it back for Reese Scarlett. Lesperance taken away by Adam Brooks on a back check, looking for Grundstrom, who was just waiting for that one to crawl over to him. Dermott lifts it down toward the goal, hanging on to it. McKenna, Grundstrom, side of the goal, and Nearly a misplay by McKenna that cost them. Loverde toward the goal, and into the corner it rolls as Janssen right there. Dermott tried to kick at it to keep it in. It comes back to Loverde. Tipped in by Altonen. McKenna wanted to play it. Hetherington does come to it. Altonen gets a whack at it. Janssen comes to it against Regner. Hetherington back up and all the way down the ice. Dermott does the slow skate after it, and they'll pick it up for icing with 7:36 remaining here in the first period.
Well, the Texas Stars and the Toronto Marlies, these two clubs coming into the finals. The Stars had been 8-0 and the Marlies 9-0 when they scored the first goal of the hockey game. In this series, the team that scored the first goal has lost each of the first 3 games. So tonight, the Texas Stars draw first blood, and we're going to see what unfolds. And if you go back to the game the other night, Texas scored first 55 seconds into the second period, and it only took 3 minutes exactly for the Marlies to tie it at 1, and they eventually tacked another one on and won the game 2-1.
Hall toward the goal as it comes back to Mueller. Flynn gets a hold of it and sends it back down the ice, and the Stars will get in the change that they are looking for. As Rosen cross ice off the boards, Timashov with some speed into it, plays it around behind the goal. Lifted back up, Flynn down the ice. Hall goes back after it. Picked up and right back onto the stick of Ben Smith. Mueller at the blue line of the Marlies as it is lifted back into the Toronto zone. Sparks gonna hang on to that one and then move it along quickly. Ben Smith across the line, he shoots. Glances off and then clatters off the glass as Smith plays it around behind for Mueller. Back out of the corner. Smith was trying to come back to the line or come back to the center, but he couldn't get there as Marincin missed on an opportunity and now picks it up back through the middle. Ben Smith trying to protect that puck. Taken away by Dowling. Marincin in front of him. Dowling cuts back in, waits, shoots. That one comes ever so close.
Oh, I think that may have hit the crossbar and out the other side is Justin Dowling with some fancy moves, no question about it. He fakes the shot to draw the goaltender down, and almost a 2-goal advantage for the Texas Stars.
Well, the Stars have a 1-0 lead on a power play goal. Curtis McKenzie for the Stars will be back.
So you've seen your favorite buds battle it out on the ice, but have you seen them battle it out in NHL 18? Well, guess what? It's preseason bonding time. The Toronto Maple Leafs NHL 18 face-off goes down.
Oh, no. You suck. Let's go! Let's go!
Yes!
There's no way. Yeah!
You can only catch it on Leafs Nation Network.
Holy shoot, is he a player?
Join us every single week for LTV Throwback when we transport you all the way back in time to some of our most memorable moments in Leafs history, like the time we had an interview with Doug Gilmour while he was riding a jet ski, or the time where we sent our Leafs crew over to Afghanistan to support our troops. You can catch that and more every single week on LTV Throwback right here on Leafs Nation Network.
I'm Frederick Anderson, and you're watching Leafs Nation Network.
Well, puck protection is critical, and not turning over the puck, especially to the top line of this Texas Stars, as Justin Dowling strips Ben Smith of the puck, and you see a terrific opportunity as he brings it off the crossbar over that right shoulder of Garrett Sparks, and Ben Smith knows better that he can't turn it over and have an opportunity head back in the other direction.
Knocked back out. That one Sparks took a swipe at and ended up over his net. Long shot by Bayreuther as he sends it in, and it is Rosen who is looking for Engvall, but it comes right back out. Mangine. Stars backing up here, but they have the guys that get things done for them. This top line, McKenzie, Morin. Here's Rosen in alone, shoots, and boy, That's a rip of a shot by Rosen as it's back out. Brooks getting it. Greening offside. He thought he got his foot out, but he didn't.
Well, you're right about the top line of the Texas Stars. They had 11 points in the first 2 games together as a trio. They were held off the score sheet in game number 3, but right back at it here this evening, and the power play goal has staked the Stars to that 1-goal advantage.
Well, and that group gets a lot of power play goals. They are a dangerous group with a lot of points. Well, they all play in the minus territory on the plus-minus meter.
Well, 4 for 8 in
Here's
this
Moore
series. Their
cutting
power
down into the
plays.
corner on the backhand. Moore centering and by everybody. Marincin chases it back. He and Hall. Moore again looking over for Adam Brooks. Hetherington plays it back out. Joel Lesperance challenged by Moore, and now down the left side goes Markison. The crowd would like a penalty. Not going to get it there. Lifted up the boards. Brooks onto the stick of Moore as he races back through the middle, being chased down. Moore gets loose. Brooks across the line. He has it hop on him a little bit, and then he has a tough time getting back to it, but he's still on top of it with Marchment coming in to help out as well. From behind the goal, picked up by Lesperance as he sends a long one right into the bench. Calvin Pickard grabs it up and hangs on to that one. There is 4:44 remaining in this first period. The Texas Stars have a 1-0 lead. This is Scotiabank, Toronto Marlies, playoff hockey.
Do pregame rituals actually work? And what makes a slap shot so fast? My name is Anthony Morgan, and this is Secrets in Science.
Before the season gets underway, Leaf players both past and present sit down for a hilarious heart-to-heart.
Hey guys, I'm Zach Hyman. Hi, I'm Austin Matthews.
Rick 5. Daryl Sittler here.
Behind the scenes like you've never seen them before.
Can you sing a little bit?
No, I'm not singing.
No, just a little bit.
Good try. That's not happening.
There you go.
Witness the Leafs as the fun, feisty, and hardworking teammates they truly are on Leaf to Leaf.
I've been a Leaf fan since I was in the womb.
Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go!
Well, the Texas Stars with a 1-0 lead here in this game. And the teams that have scored the first goal are 0-3 in the series, and the Texas Stars have gotten that first goal here this evening. But I think the big thing where Derek Laxdell saying this morning that, hey, the Toronto Marlies were better than us in game number 3 here in Texas, and they need collectively as a hockey club to be better if they want to even this series up at 2 games apiece here this evening.
Johnson comes in for the draw as Aaltonen. He didn't get to take a lot of draws in game number 3, Miro Aaltonen. Liljegren sends it hard back in. Along the near wall. Johnson trying to get to it. Flynn plays it back up and not far as Johnson turns around on it. Across the line. He'll treat. Oh, a big trip up. Interference to call. Dylan Hetherington actually put his leg out there. And I don't know, we'll have to look at this one, whether it's some intent or not, or desperation, but boy, it didn't look good.
Well, and Hetherington is, you know, being very diligent at getting after the official, saying, you know, I can't believe you're calling a penalty against me, as we're going to get a look at it as he takes a seat in the box for 2 minutes or less. And it's going to be an interference call, and Hetherington none too pleased, but nonetheless, the Toronto Marlies will go to their first power play of the hockey game, and Jansson's going to chip the puck to the wall, and you see Hetherington's right leg, he sticks it out, and it was a couple of steamboats easily after Jansson had released the puck, so you can give him a tripping call or you can give him an interference, but either way, I don't think he can argue too hard on that one.
No, and that's a dangerous looking play right there. Timashov Back up at the line. Rosen plays it back. Timashov off the wall. Looks over. Back up Rosen. Here's Mueller drawing in. Mueller out front. And a save by McKenna. He dropped it, but then he covered it.
Well, Mike McKenna unsure where that puck went after it hit him, but he finds it in a hurry and covers it up for the whistle. And the Toronto Marlies, whose power play is 3 for 8 coming in, or 4 for 8, excuse me, coming into this one after going 0 for 1 in the game on Tuesday evening here. It's that shot from the right side, and it's Mueller who takes the shot, and it's redirected in the high slot by Trevor Moore, and McKenna gets his arm on it, and then he squeezes it quickly for a whistle.
Moore in the corner, comes back up high. Rosen on the line, giving it back to Mueller. Hopped and popped a little bit funny, but now Rosen comes in to clean it up. And Mueller, side of the goal, Moore out front. Timashov, it hopped over his stick. Up high to the line, Rosen back to Mueller, winds up, big pounder off the pads. Rosen gets it back. Mueller again, winds up, shot, tipped out front. Timashov back to Rosen. Good chances by the Marlies on this power play. Timashov again. Sends it to Rosen, back to Mueller, he wants that shot. Not sure it's there, cross ice, Timashov waits, back, Rosen, shot off the iron and into the corner. Back out, Smith and Mueller trying to combine. As Timashov looks again, Mueller back up high, Rosen waits on it, shoots wide of the mark. Timashov back to it as well. Here comes Rosen back to Timashov. Rosen waits, tip, looking for Mueller on the backside, but it doesn't connect. And it is cleared out, and the Stars withstand a strong Marlies power play.
Tremendous puck retrieval by the Toronto Marlies, and they get numerous opportunities to try and tie this hockey game up. One off the goalpost from the stick of Rosen, but the Stars survive, and they get some fresh bodies out there.
Time will tick here as Janssen tries to come back to it, and we're back to 5-on-5 as something exploded there on the far side. And debris on the ice. Janssen,
the water bottle holder.
Looking back over. It is played now into the Toronto zone as Marincin comes back. Long cross ice pass. Grundstrom through the middle. He plays it off into the broken water bottle corner. Up ice, got by everybody. This will come back and it'll be picked up for icing on the play. It'll give him a chance to clean up the debris that's out there.
Well, that was at the end of the power play for Toronto. The Stars trying to ice the puck, and they shoot it off the back of the net, which is the black part that's holding the water bottle, and for the goaltender, and it absolutely blows up. And Sheldon Keefe obviously would like to see his team capitalize and score a goal to tie this hockey game up, but I'm sure he's pleased with what he saw from his power play, with the way it generated some opportunities and looked like they had McKenna beat, but Rosen's shot rings off the goalpost and out the other way.
Brooks and Dowling in the circle. One back by Dowling, but Moore diligent to the puck. Hetherington sends it along to the far side though, and now Morin working left. Nice little dig back into Dowling, and he sends it right back out, but it is Brooks who is there to pick it up. Adam Brooks pushes it into the corner, and Moore goes after it there. Mangine overskated it, but he had help as Flynn comes away with it. Through the middle, he steps by Mason Marchment, cuts across the line, not offside, as Flynn works down into the corner, and it rolls through the slot and finds a home back over for Scarlett high on the blue line. Tipped and back to the end boards. Dowling, Greening, trying to get it back to Loverde, who calms it down and sends it back out into center. Back across the line it comes, in towards Sparks, a bouncer. He has to hang on to that one, as we are inside a minute to play in this first period.
Well, good job by Garrett Sparks not taking any chances on that high hoister up in the air, and it bounces just in front of the blue paint. He gets down into that butterfly position as Bodnarchuk flips it up towards the Toronto goal, and then it gets caught up in his equipment, so he squeezes it for a face-off to his right.
Frederick Gauthier waiting for someone to meet up with. Wins it off into the corner. Engvall plays it back up along the near side. It is picked up by Hintz. Back to the line. Regner toward the goal. And boy, that one got tipped, but handled as Greening knocked down, but Frederick Gauthier comes away with it. Finds Engvall. Smooth skater back up through the middle. Hall got it across the line only briefly. It is kicked back out. Gauthier back to Marincin. Waiting for an opportunity here as time dwindles down. Gauthier comes back out, and now Marincin will have to get back to it quickly. Picking it up, Engvall right to it. And the Stars nearly generate a chance as the Marlies try to make a change. Regner deep into the corner. This one comes back up along the near side. Mueller plays it, but that is 20 minutes in the books. And now Sheldon Dries and Chris Mueller after it. Regner comes in too, and Mueller pulls the helmet off. Regner in behind him, Engvall, as Chris Mueller draws a crowd at the end of the first period.
Well, you know, that's the spirited period that I believe that the Texas Stars wanted. I thought the Marlies controlled the play and had some great opportunities early in the hockey game, but the difference in this one is the power play that the Texas Stars have been so hot on through the course of this series. 4 for 8 now at 50%. Marlies got to be better than that if they want to win this one.
We'll be back with the intermission. Scotiabank, Toronto Marlies, playoff hockey from Cedar Park.
Turn your fantasy into reality. You could earn a chance to win Toronto Maple Leafs season tickets for 2018-2019. Visit mbna.ca/Leafs for full contest rules.
I'm Jake Gardner, and you're watching the Leafs Nation Network.
Welcome back to Cedar Park, Texas, and the Texas Stars on a goal by Curtis McKenzie leading the Toronto Marlies after 20 minutes of play, 1-0. We're welcomed here by Captain Ben Smith. Ben, obviously the club's got to stay out of the penalty box. However, 5-on-5, you had to like the way the team played. Tell me about the tempo and what you like to achieve in the second period if it can continue this way.
Well, it's a pretty even period both ways. They score on the power play, we didn't, and that's the difference. But yeah, we just have to keep trying to get pucks deep, going to get it, and trying ways to create offense from there.
You've played on championship teams before. Compare the tempo and physicality of what we're seeing in this series here today.
Yeah, it's competitive. Both teams want to win. It's a tight series, and it's definitely a battle out there, continuation of Game 3.
All right, thanks for this.
Thank you.
Captain Ben Smith of the Toronto Marlies, as mentioned, Curtis McKenzie, 1 goal. The Marlies outshoot the Stars 13-10, but after 1 period in Texas, it's Texas 1, Toronto 0.
Sometimes the best growing opportunity is there's those little speed bumps in life. You need to take in the next step because they challenge you mentally and physically. And I'm real proud of our group, proud of our players. A good job of getting better and working hard and saying that we want to be playing. We have to identify what we need to be better at and continue to make strides. We want to have success.
$112 points, 54 wins, 6 shutouts, 9 straight playoff wins. But it all comes down to this. Toronto Marlies, Texas Stars for the Calder Cup on Leafs Nation Network.
For their third last stop on the Banner Tour, the Maple Leafs visited Brandon, Manitoba, hometown of goaltending great Turk Broda. A weak Kings home game would serve as the backdrop for the festivities as the city turned out to honor one of their province's favorite sons. It was evident that those who call Brandon their home today love the game as much as Turk did. The charismatic netminder was often fond of saying, "I'm just a fellow who likes to play hockey. The Maple Leafs paid me for my work and practices. I threw in the games for free." In the end, Brandon fans had stood witness to a 7-3 victory over the visiting Swift Current Broncos. And the Leafs had found a new permanent home for Turk Broda's original Bay Street banner.
It's the facts of the game that there's probably more capable players than there are sweaters every night in the NHL. I think I'm still in that part of my career where I'm trying to earn it every day and gain that long-term security. When you're out of the lineup, I think you've got to continue to put the effort and the intensity level in it. At the end of the day, it's got to translate. You got to go out and you got to do it when the lights are on.
So you've seen your favorite buds battle it out on the ice, but have you seen them battle it out in NHL 18? Well, guess what? It's preseason bonding time. The Toronto Maple Leafs NHL 18 face-off goes down.
Oh, no. You suck. Let's go! Let's go!
Yes! There's no way.
Yeah!
You can only catch it on Leafs Nation Network.
Holy shoot, is he a player?
Ever wonder why the puck is frozen before a game? Do pregame rituals actually work? And what makes a slap shot so fast? We're gonna tell all in our brand new show on Leafs Nation Network, hosted by yours truly. My name is Anthony Morgan, and this is Secrets in Science.
Before the season gets underway, Leaf players both past and present sit down for a hilarious heart-to-heart.
Hey guys, I'm Zach Hyman. Hi, I'm Austin Matthews.
Rick 5. Daryl Sittler here.
Behind the scenes like you've never seen them before.
Can you sing a little bit?
No, I'm not singing.
No, just a little bit.
Good try. That's not happening.
There you go.
Witness the Leafs as the fun, feisty, and hardworking teammates they truly are on Leaf to Leaf.
Comes back with Jonsson 2-on-1, shoots, scores! Grimstrom, Grundstrom ties it back up, 2 apiece.
And welcome back. 2016 was a tremendous year for Carl Grundstrom. That spring, his Frölunda team won a Swedish Hockey League championship. A month later, he'd be drafted in the second round, 57th overall by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, 2 years later, an opportunity possibly to make the Toronto Maple Leafs out of training camp come September, and in just a week's time, possibly as well, an opportunity to win a Calder Cup championship. Carl, how important has 3 seasons in the Swedish Hockey League been to prepare you for a move, hopefully this fall, to Toronto?
I think it's been good. It's good to play pro hockey for a couple of years now and be around pro players. So I think it has been good for me.
In terms of coming to Toronto and playing for the Marlies, what might a good long playoff run toward a Calder Cup for Toronto be in helping you in your development? How important has it been to be here this spring with the Marlies?
I think it's good to get to know a couple of guys here and get to know how they play here too. It's a bit different game over here than it is in Europe, so I think it's been really good.
You've got 7 Swedes on the team. You're one of them. If I'm to mention a Swedish hockey player and you're just to describe them with maybe one word or maybe a quick sentence, what might it be? If I'm to say Timothy Liljegren, what would you say?
He's funny, he's a skilled player.
Pierre Engvall, what would you say to describe him?
Funny, yeah. It's good to have a couple Swedes here as well to get to speak your own language sometimes, so that's nice.
Scout Tommy Bergman, sitting with him in the stands watching you play, I said, describe Carl Grundstrom in one word, and he goes, compete. Have you always had that compete level, Carl?
Yeah, it's been like that since I was a little kid, so yeah.
How difficult was the knee injury at the beginning of the season for you to get over and move on with your season? What was it like when it happened and you knew that you're going to have surgery?
It was tough. It's always tough to be away from the game for like 5 weeks. I think I was so. But good. We had like good rehab in Frölunda and work hard, and I think I came back stronger after that. So, but obviously it was tough to be away from the game for so long.
Is your game better suited now, do you think, to North America than it might be to Sweden, given how physical you like to play?
I don't know. Yeah, I like the game over here. It's more physical. It's more tighter to the net, and I like that type of hockey. So, but it's hard to say. Play much more on the big guys in my life. So, and I like that game too. So it's hard to say, but I really like to play over here.
Andreas Borgman has always said the best thing about living in Toronto is the restaurants. You've had a little time here. In the event that you get a chance to play permanently in Toronto, and I know that's the plan, what do you like about this city?
I like the restaurants as well. It's a big city, but it's not too far away from everything. Like if you are downtown, it's pretty close to everything, and I like that.
I'm Jake Gardner, and you're watching the Leafs Nation Network.
My name is Paul McGuire. I'm interviewing Leafs alumni. I'm going to find out why Toronto fans and players have a saying, once a Leaf, always a Leaf.
I grew up bleeding Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Playing for Toronto, it's unbelievable.
It was a huge honor when I became captain. You're representing the team.
When you grow up here, and then you actually get to play with the team, it's a pretty special thing.
Once you've pulled on the jersey, you are always a Leaf.
Join us every single week for LTV Throwback when we transport you all the way back in time to some of our most memorable moments in Leafs history, like the time we had an interview with Doug Gilmour while he was riding a jet ski, or the time where we sent our Leafs crew over to Afghanistan to support our troops. You can catch that and more every single week on LTV Throwback right here on Leafs Nation Network.
For their third last stop on the Banner Tour, the Maple Leafs visited Brandon, Manitoba, hometown of goaltending great Turk Broda. A Wheat Kings home game would serve as the backdrop for the festivities as the city turned out to honor one of their province's favorite sons. It was evident that those who call Brandon their home today love the game as much as Turk did. The charismatic netminder was often fond of saying, "I'm just a fellow who likes to play hockey. The Maple Leafs paid me for my work and practices. I threw in the games for free." In the end, Brandon fans had stood witness to a 7-3 victory over the visiting Swift Current Broncos. And the Leafs had found a new permanent home for Turk Broda's original Bay Street banner.
$112 points, 54 wins, 6 shutouts, 9 straight playoff wins. But it all comes down to this: Toronto Marlies, Texas Stars for the Calder Cup on Leafs Nation Network.
My name is Paul McGuire. I'm interviewing Leafs alumni who forever bleed blue.
It was a huge honor when I became captain. You're representing the team.
Once you've pulled on the jersey, you are always a Leaf.
Both teams according to script here in game number 4, but only one team comes away with a goal.
Well, you're right. Some good chances, though, as Colin Markison gets a breakaway on a turnover. And then the top line of the Stars have just been so terrific in this series. They were held off the sheet in game number 3, but back on it again here tonight as Morin's shot gets blocked, but it's the captain, Curtis McKenzie, with the power play goal, and that's the difference in this hockey game as he leads the Calder Cup with 9 goals and with 5 power play goals. He's the guy they got to really keep their eye on.
Well, whoever scored the first goal in this series hasn't been successful ultimately. We'll see how it plays out when we return.
I've been a Leaf fan since I was in the womb.
Anybody who knows me knows the Toronto Maple Leafs are a part of my life.
This is the only toilet that came from Maple Leaf Gardens.
Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go!
Join Leafs Nation, the official online fan community of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Access contests, special offers, exclusive member rewards. Sign up for free at mapleleafs.com/LeafsNation.
Guys, welcome to town. The tour is underway. I guess so. The house that Gardner built. Gardner Invitational. Gardner Invitational. I suppose one of these games.
Off days on the road sometimes they're just long, so having something to do and have to be a team builder and still get some activity. And as you saw, starts out slow and then the boys get a little competitive, right? Everyone likes winning.
Hopefully do this every year. It was a fun day, and I think everyone enjoyed it. Just kind of going back to being a kid again.
It's the facts of the game that there's probably more capable players than there are sweaters every night in the NHL. I think I'm still in that part of my career where I'm trying to earn it every day and gain that long-term security. When you're out of the lineup, I think you've got to continue to put the effort and the intensity level in it. At the end of the day, it's got to translate. You got to go out and you got to do it when the lights are on.
I'm Leo Kamara. You're watching the Leafs Nation Network.
Join us every single week for LTV Throwback when we transport you all the way back in time to some of our most memorable moments in Leafs history, like the time we had an interview with Doug Gilmour while he was riding a jet ski, or the time where we sent our Leafs crew over to Afghanistan to support our troops. You can catch that and more every single week on LTV Throwback right here on Leafs Nation Network.
Here at Cedar Park, the Texas Stars hold a 1-0 lead on a power play goal by Curtis McKenzie. He has been absolutely devastating throughout the playoffs for these Texas Stars, Bob. He is proving once again to be pretty dangerous.
Well, you know what? He is the captain of this hockey club, and he stirs the drink. 25 goals in the regular season. He now has 9 playoff goals, which is best in the Calder Cup playoffs, and his goal was a power play tally, which was his 5th power play goal, which is tops, and now tied with Chris DiDomenico, the Rockford IceHawk, for 18 points. So his next point, if he gets another one here in this series, he will grab the overall lead in the race for most points in the Calder Cup playoffs, and he has really been the catalyst. There's no question about it. for the Stars in them getting to this point in the Calder Cup Finals.
He's got a championship on his mind. His team is down 2-1 to the Toronto Marlies, but they have a 1-0 lead as we get set for the second period from here in Texas. Frederick Gauthier ready to take the draw for the Toronto Marlies. There was some question as to whether he would be 100% healthy to jump into this contest. There he is against Dowling to start this second period. We're underway. And the Stars handle it and then send it in. Sparks plays it off into the corner as Justin Hall. Back up Gauthier. Engvall sends it in. Wiggles his way off the boards and then is chipped the rest of the way. After it goes McKenzie. He and Hall meet up at the boards and Greening is there to pick up the puck briefly. Engvall. He got it awkwardly in his feet as he still works to it. Travis Moore right there on top of him. McKenzie as well. Puck in amongst the bodies as they fall to the ice, and it is Marincin who picks it up. McKenzie very nearly walked to the goal. As Gauthier picks it up, he'll dump it in, he'll go after it, but the line is trying to make a change. Greening's still out after it. Boy, he thumps his man hard to the boards, but he goes down in the process. Picked off by Altonen. Turns around and he sends it in. Janssen goes chasing. Grundstrom's over on the far side. As the Stars get it right back out into center ice. Rope Hintz leaving this one back. Trailing on the play. Unable to get one. Here's Hintz in tight. Boy, had all the time in the world, but he couldn't get one by Garrett Sparks.
Wow, the loose puck squirts right to Rope Hintz, and he's got a great opportunity. He tries to go short side, top shelf on Sparks, and he fights it off the blocking glove.
Here's a chance. Here's Sheldon Dries waiting for the pass. It didn't get there, but he steals it away. Shoots! Sparks! A touch and knocks it to the wall. Dermott right back to it. Back through the middle. Grundstrom. Brooks trying to cut back in towards center. They knock it away from him. And along the near wall, Liljegren. Well, he's knocked down in the process, and Dickinson across the line. Waiting for it was Gurianov. Back in. It is sent. It is offside. As they whistle it down, and they'll bring it back out.
Well, the Texas Stars again with an opportunity. You know, Hintz gets this chance after the puck bounces off a Toronto stick. And it's just one of those plays where Travis Dermott picks up the loose puck and then he turns it over, and right back after it, Sheldon Dries, as he's got 8 playoff goals himself. And this is something where the Stars are looking for that next goal, as it's going to be a big one.
Pondering too many men here as the penalty. As the Stars coming over to talk about it, Terry Koharski comes over to talk to Sheldon Keefe about it. And I don't know if they're going to call anything. They're not. And they fired this back. Yeah, the puck came back in, and he had a bunch of players deep. And they're not going to call what happened.
The Stars dumped in the puck that was going to be offside, and I was wondering why the whistle went so quickly, as no one in a green uniform near the puck,
like
but they blew it dead. So after discussion, they've decided we're going to play on.
Sheldon Keefe, lots to say to Terry Koharski in the process. Liljegren works up ice. He fired it more. Couldn't get to it. Markinson plays it right back the other way. Through the middle. Rosen lifts it over to Brooks. Trying to find some room over on the far side. It comes back to Moore. Got by him. Liljegren lifted it toward the goal, but it made contact. Brooks again. Off the wall. Firing it over to Rosen. He got by him, and into the boards it goes. Moore will chase it down into the corner as it comes loose. Brooks gets some attention. Back to Rosen. Waits. Shoots off the pads. Rebound. Comes back over to Brooks. He doesn't get a shot away. Moore out front. Stick lifted by Marchment. And there it is on goal again. Moore out front one more time. Racing for it. Adam Brooks. What a shift for this line. as it is kicked back out and down the ice.
Yeah, tremendous shift by the Brooks line, no question. They've got the Stars on their heels, and they're all over it, and a big save on that right toe by McKenna keeps this a 1-goal advantage for the Stars.
Valverde up, right back out. It hits McKenzie on the way back in. The dump in actually catches McKenzie pretty sharp.
Yeah, you never like that. I think it hurts that much more when it's your own guy that hits you with the puck. And Curtis McKenzie, who's been so terrific, fighting this one off. But a chance by the Toronto Marlies. Callie Rosen off the turnover by the Stars. And it's Brooks who gets that rebound but can't quite corral it. And then right back the other way. The Marlies just putting it towards the goal as you got bodies converging at the net. And Moore's attempt just whistles wide, and the Stars survive the pressure by the Marlies.
Lifted back out, Loverde through the middle. Ben Smith, Timoshaw drops it in. Mueller goes after it, leaves it for Smith, who tries to carry it down the wall. Timoshaw comes back, gives it a touch, and it is picked up as Dowling works down the left side. Hard off the boards into the Toronto zone. Dermott scoops it back behind the goal. Morin is there with it. Gets some pressure. Dowling from behind the goal, waiting to center back, moves back to Morin from behind the goal, and it is Loverde who shakes it loose and gets it to Ben Smith. Up ice, Mueller through the middle. Back off the boards and deep into the Texas zone. Marlies making a change in the process as Dylan Hetherington, long pass ahead for Dickinson, got away from him. Marincin trying to hold it off, and Justin Hall coming in to move it quickly up along the near boards. Carl Grunstrom's there, so is Janssen. He looks cross ice. That was a sharp one, and it got by Marincin. Now Hall has to handle some trouble. Dickinson in behind the goal trying to move it. Grunstrom races to it as he picks up the wobbling puck. He comes back across the line, and Hall back over. Janssen winds up, hard shot. Hard into the net. The net knocked off its mooring, but the puck doesn't get by.
Well, in transition, this is where the Marlies are a very dangerous hockey club. And they come up together. You got the defenseman joining the attack, and as the puck is dropped back, it's Hall who had joined the rush. He got the drop pass, and he takes a look over his left shoulder, and he spots Andreas Janssen coming into the zone, and Janssen with a big shot, but the defensive player for the Texas Stars actually goes into the goaltender, and McKenna backs into the crossbar and knocks the net off its moorings. So we'll have a face-off in the Texas zone.
This time Gauthier will get tossed. Greening will come in. And a little bit of direction for Engvall to back up, which he does only briefly, and gets right back to the same spot. Back out across the line, Lilligren whips it back in. Engvall toward the goal, and that one came screaming through the slot as it gets by Greening. Bayreuther sends it over to the far side, poke back up to the blue line. Rosen lifts a shot to the goal. Comes back to Lilligren as he works it down the wall. In behind the goal, Greening picks it up backhand. He was hoping to sneak one by the goaltender. As Engvall out of the corner, looks, shoots. Here's Gauthier from behind the goal trying to find some help, and it is back up to the blue line and carried back in as Rosen keeps it in. This time it is sent back out by the Stars, who were hoping to get in some changes. Rosen back over for Brooks. Marlies get in some changes. Cross ice looking for more. There's a long pass through a lot of traffic toward the goal, but in behind the net, Loverde. Brooks, Marchman rips a shot on goal in the crook of the arm for Mike McKenna. And he stops that one.
And again, it's the Adam Brooks line with Marchman and Moore, who continue to generate offensive chances here for the Toronto Marlies as they still trail by a score of 1-0 here in the second period of play. But the puck comes around the wall, and Laverde stays in and pinches. He keeps it. And a little pass from Brooks to Marchment, and he tries to go far side, and it's just in the crook of the arm of McKenna to prevent it from getting through his body and into the back of the net, and we'll continue on with a 1-0 advantage.
Trying to get it back. And now with a little bit of room here, Dowling some speed. Centered, scores! And with that goal, Curtis McKenzie takes over the playoff scoring lead in the American Hockey League and puts the Texas Stars up 2-0.
And the captain of the Texas Stars making a statement in this one. As you said, now the leading scorer, but his double digits in goals now with his 10th of the Calder Cup playoffs. But it's the speed down the wing by Justin Dowling, and he looks over his right shoulder to spot McKenzie, who outlegs the Toronto defenseman and just gets in position. And Laverde, he knows that McKenzie's there, but he positions himself the wrong way and gets looking at the puck instead of looking at the man and maybe being able to tie up the stick before the puck gets there. And Curtis McKenzie deposits it past Garrett Sparks, and the Texas Stars now with a 2-0 advantage here in the second period.
Brooks out front, he's looking for more. And the Marlies down by a couple to a good team here in the fourth game. Cross ice, Moore waits, shoots, and it hits behind the goal. Marchman again. Cross ice, Hall picks it up at the blue line and sends it deep. Marincin is in deep as Marchman knocked to the ground, but Marincin moves it back for Trevor Moore. Moore gets it back out of the corner. Has a little trouble with it and then finds Marchman. He takes a spin and gets it back to the line. Marincin back to Adam Brooks. Brooks has got a little bit of room, but knocked off his stick. Back up, but not out. Brooks again, cuts back in, down into the corner. High to the line, Justin Hall couldn't keep it in. Back to Brooks again, following up the play. Looks in, shoots, looking for Janssen. He turned on it, he didn't connect on it. And now Janssen from behind the goal. Loose, Grunstrom will rush to it. And he turns around and looks down toward the goal, but he was hoping to find Altonen, but that one is up and over the snowbank. 12:29 left to go here in the second period. Curtis McKenzie has been the story of this hockey game so far.
So you've seen your favorite buds battle it out on the ice, but have you seen them battle it out in NHL 18? Well, guess what? It's preseason bonding time. The Toronto Maple Leafs NHL 18 face-off goes down.
Oh, no. You suck. Let's go! Let's go!
Yes! There's no way.
Yeah!
You can only catch it on Leafs Nation Network.
Holy shoot, is he a player?
I've been a Leaf fan since I was in the womb.
Well, anybody who knows me knows the Toronto Maple Leafs are a part of my life.
This is the only toilet that came from Maple Leaf Gardens.
Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go!
I'm Jake Gardner, and you're watching the Leafs Nation Network.
Well, we're going to get another look at this second goal by the Texas Stars, and Justin Dowling down the left side. He just does an excellent job of knowing that he has got the trailer and his line mate Curtis McKenzie, and McKenzie makes no mistake in depositing the puck past the Toronto goalkeeper, and it's now a 2-0 advantage. His 10th goal of the Calder Cup playoffs, and you see Vincent Laverde, the defenseman for the Toronto Marlies, who got a little bit turned around on the play, and as a result didn't get in the proper spot to be able to prevent McKenzie from getting that puck.
Oh, toward the goal! And tipped by Janssen. And out front, Carl Grunstrom looked like he got a piece of it. And boy, that just tickled the post. As Janssen sends it back in. Here's Altonen. Looks in, shoots off the goaltender. And back down the ice. That one skitters. That'll be brought back on the icing call as Carl Grundstrom gets a good chance here, and this play, 11:57 left to go in the second period.
Well, you're right, and Carl Grundstrom, no points in the first 3 games here in this Calder Cup final, but he's been terrific with 6 goals and 10 points in 16 games coming into this one, as that top line for Toronto trying to get on the board and get their club right back in this one.
Off the draw, back up, Rosen toward the goal. Stopped by McKenna. And he hangs on to that one. He's faced 17 shots by the Toronto Marlies into this mid part of the second period. The Stars have only taken 12 at Garrett Sparks, but they've got 2 goals to show for it.
Well, you're not going to fault Garrett Sparks for either one of the goals he's given up in this one, and that's for sure.
Off the draw, comes back up, Rosen toward the goal, out front, and boy, right there was Mason Marchment causing a little bit of havoc, but Mike McKenna was able to get to it.
Well, back-to-back offensive zone face-off wins for the Toronto Marlies. They generate an opportunity on the last shift, and then again they get the draw. This time Adam Brooks and Callie Rosen, who had the game-winning goal in game number 3 on Tuesday evening, gets that shot, and it actually goes off the skate of the defenseman Mangine, and McKenna scrambles to make sure he doesn't allow that puck to squirt away from him.
Brooks tried to take that one straight off the hop to the goal. It's lifted out into center where Liljegren grabs it up. Rosen will touch by Moore, or was it? It was indeed. And now Moore, a bit of a push and shove with Mangine out at center ice. Drop back Liljegren, some pressure. Rosen right away on top of him. That has been what the Stars have been trying to do, get right on top of the D, make him make a decision. Maybe a mistake. Brooks off into the far corner, but the Marlies trying to get in the rest of a change here as Engvall comes out. Bayreuther looking for a way to get out of the zone. He lifts it up at the line. It does come out past Gauthier, but narrowly, and now right back in. Kiryanov! Boy, he's got a dangerous shot. There's another one out front. Hall, backhander wide of the mark. Sparks comes across, and that one does not miss by much. The Stars are all over it here as Marincin grabs it up behind the goal and moves it along to Greening. Some good chances by the Stars.
Well, that last one, Bodnerchuk, and it looked almost like he was shooting it at the legs that were standing off to the side of the goal, looking for a good bounce, and it just goes out the other side, and the Toronto Marlies dodge a bit of a bullet in that opportunity.
McKenna very nearly gives it away right out front, and now back 3 wide. Lesperance following it up, and that shot didn't have a lot on it and missed the mark in the process. Mueller along to Smith. Here's Loverde. He's got Timashov racing after it. He lifts it down the ice, but that one is going to go for icing. A little too much on it from Loverde.
Yeah, that's one of those plays you'd like to just bank it off the wall and let your man skate into it. It gets away from him, so as a result, we'll have a face-off back in the Toronto zone. And we spoke of earlier the backhand attempt that goes wide by Dries, and then sneaking in is Bodnerchuk, and he gets a little chip pass, and then he fires it. Sparks is in position, so I think he's looking for something to almost a pinball shut off some legs or feet that are standing right at the top of the blue paint, and it goes out the other way.
Off the draw to the wall, back up to the line. Shot. Timashov got a stick on it, turn around, that one makes contact with Mueller out front, and it's lifted back down the ice. Up ahead, Loverde will recapture it back in his own end, and he and Dermott back across the line. That crawled up Janssen's shoulder over top of him, dropped him, but he was offside in the process. There is 9:40 left to go in the second period. The Texas Stars hold a 2-0 advantage.
Before the season gets underway, Leaf players both past and present sit down for a hilarious heart-to-heart.
Hey guys, I'm Zach Hyman.
Hi, I'm Austin Matthews.
Brick 5.
Daryl Sittler here. Behind the scenes like you've never seen them before.
You sing a little bit?
No, I'm not singing.
No, just a little
Good
bit.
try, that's not happening. There you go.
Witness the Leafs as the fun, feisty, and hardworking teammates they truly are on Leaf to Leaf.
Ever wonder why the puck is frozen before a game? Do pregame rituals actually work? And what makes a slap shot so fast? We're gonna tell all in our brand new show on Leafs Nation Network, hosted by yours truly. My name is Anthony Morgan, and this is Secrets in Science.
Well, Toronto Marlies trailing 2-0 in this game with 9:40 to play in the second period, and Sheldon Keefe, as we went for our timeout, was having some choice words for the two linesmen, and you know, that one icing call, I thought that the puck hit the boards in front of the red line and they called to the icing, and then the last one goes in the bench, and I think Sheldon's thinking it went off a green stick, so the faceoff should be the other way, and obviously trying to rile his team up a little bit here to inject a little life into them as they need a goal to get back in this one.
That one is into the neighbor's yard with 9:30 left to go. Well, this first line of Janssen, Grundstrom, and Aaltonen are certainly looking for an opportunity to get on the score sheet and start to dominate the way they did in really the last two playoff series, Bob.
Yeah, you're right about that. Janssen with an assist in the first goal that Mueller scored to tie the game at 1 in game number 3. But Grundstrom and Aaltonen both yet to get a point here in this Calder Cup final.
Travis Morin back out through the middle, past McKenzie's stick as Hall around behind his own goal. Dermott comes in, he calls back Aaltonen, and then he steps out himself. Grundstrom, cross ice, broken up by Morin. Hall comes back to it again. Here comes Dermott across the line. Looks in, he's got Grundstrom at the goal, and he's got Janssen back up the wall. Dermott under some pressure here by a couple of Stars, needs some help. Grundstrom comes over to do just that. Puck loose into the corner, and it is picked up by Dylan Hetherington. Moving it back along, long pass, picked up. McKenzie waits and then shoots. He didn't think he could find the man trailing on the play. Janssen trying to fight through a couple of checks, still working to try and kick it over to Trevor Moore. Now Moore back out of the corner, round behind the goal. Moore looking out, turns around, sends one through the paint. And back down the ice it comes as Rosen cross ice. Moore trying to dive out of getting hit in the process. Hintz from behind the goal, centering pass denied by Liljegren. It rolls to the side of the goal. And they can't get a touch to it. Bodnerchuk, far side, out front. Remy Ellie scooped up by Garrett Sparks. And now Flynn and Rosen at the side of the goal. Some aggressive negotiation into the corner as Marchman is involved. And now Rosen has his man down.
He's got the veteran Brian Flynn, and Flynn started all of that, and Rosen obviously taking some exception to it. And we've got some more going on in the corner. Mason Marchant's got the little headlock on Remy Ellie, I believe it is, for the Stars. And no punches being thrown as of yet. And as a result, it'll be interesting to see what the officials call. I would think that we're going to have some evening up going on, but some dislike between the two clubs. And interestingly enough, it's taken this long into game number 4 for the dislike. And you know, when you never see either club during the course of the regular season, you know, that's the case. And it starts with the shot by Remy Ellie, and then it's Flynn with the shot on Rosen, and they get after each other, and then everybody else piles in and gets involved. And again, it'll be interesting to see as I see Rosen in the box and Flynn in the box, and those are the only two guys. So I believe it's going to be 2 apiece, and we're going to have some 4-on-4 action for the next 2 minutes with just 4 seconds less than 8 minutes left here in the second period, and the Toronto Marlies trailing the Texas Stars by a score of 2-0.
Well, and that means you're going to see Andreas Janssen and Miro Aaltonen out. And then the Stars with home ice get to see what happens. They're going to stick with Sheldon Dries.
Well, and wouldn't this face-off come outside because the defenseman would have come in and joined in the fray?
Right, absolutely. Marincin out front, reaching for it was Dickinson. He couldn't quite get back to that one. Boy, he had a little step there that and a little bit of room as Sparks finds Marincin, who turns around again. These Stars are playing some hard-hitting hockey, and Janssen gives it away. Dickinson back up high on the blue line, turns around, shoots, and Loverde gets his stick in the middle of that. Hetherington from a long way away. Loverde picks it up again and sends a long one, hoping to find Janssen. He'll race Hetherington to it. Pushes him off, out front, looking for Aaltonen. And now Hall will try to get back to it. He tried a neat little move, but Dowling was wise. And now Justin Dowling works it to the boards, centering back out for who else but Curtis McKenzie. And now Dermott into the corner. McKenzie falling on the play. Dermott steps in behind his own goal. Travis Dermott winds his way up ice. Along to Hall. Down the boards, Hall looks back up to Dermott. Sharply over to Timashov. Waits on it, shoots, and that one just skims wide the mark. Dermott puts one toward the goal. Moore picks it up again, and then Moore is tripped up in the process. And the puck knocked off the stick, comes back to McKenna. Well, he waits that one out, and he had to. Timashov was right there.
Good patience by the veteran goaltender there. A little dipsy doodle with the stick.
Up ice. In behind the goal. Time winding down the 4-on-4. Marincin back to Brooks through the middle. Brooks sends it down into the corner. He's got Ben Smith with him. But it is picked up by Bayreuther and sent back out. Cross ice. Here come the Stars back to 5-on-5. Marincin in the way enough to get the Stars to cough up the puck. Ben Smith trying to move it back up, but Mangine right back to it. The Stars sensing they've got something on the go here, and they have had something on the go. They got 2 as McKenzie has them up. As the second period coming down toward the 5 minutes left to go mark. Liljegren backs up. Here's Rosen with it as he looks up ice. And he finds Colin Greeny. Turns around on the blue line and sends it down in. Marchman is after it there. Mason Marchman takes a hit, but he's still got the puck. Comes out, turns around, fires one, but sprawling is Curtis McKenzie.
Well, not only can he score goals, he's going to sacrifice himself and get down and block a shot.
McKenzie, there's Morin, sends it wide. Joel Esperance keeping it in. Morin again turns around. McKenzie out of the corner. Center back up. Regner shoots, and it's blocked. But a good exchange from the Stars. Lesperance comes in. Here's Regner, side of the goal. Shot off the crossbar, up and over.
Wow.
Engvall comes back. Markusen. Engvall, nice little move to Rosen, and now Liljegren. Through the middle. Backhander down into the corner. Gauthier after it there. Far side. Bodnerchuk trying to move it. Travis Morin up ice. Skating hard to it was Markusen. He didn't quite get there, and Mueller was looking to pick it up. Through the middle, Mueller, Timashov down the wall. Timashov's got a step, waits on it, centers it back over, looking for Mueller. Never got there. Here's Moore, back for Mueller behind the goal. Timashov there as well. Loverde high on the line. Back to Dermott, lifts one toward the goal, and that one scores! They finally beat McKenna with 3:49 left to go. Timashov got a hold of it, and the Marlies have cut the lead, 2-1 with 3:49 left to go in the second period.
A huge goal for the Toronto Marlies, and they do a good job of getting the puck at the blue line, and Laverde a little D-to-D to Dermott, and he throws it towards the goal. It gets blocked in front by number 28, Brent Regner, the defenseman, but it goes right onto the stick of Dmytro Timashov, and he makes no mistake on putting it back between the pads of the goaltender McKenna, and his 6th goal of the Calder Cup playoffs has now cut the lead to 2-1, still in favor of Texas, but a big goal for Toronto to get their legs back under them.
Johnson with a shot right on. Picked up back in center. Hintz out front waiting for the centering pass. There it is, waits on it, shoots, and he was looking. Oh, he had a great chance in Brian Flynn, but the puck screamed by him. And along the near wall, they'll battle for it. Grunstrom, back up ice. Johnson, back, 2-on-1 with Justin Hall. Johnson, Hall, Johnson scores! Andreas Johnson, sweet jalapenos, what a hot shot! Tying it up at 2 apiece with 3:09 left to go in the second period.
Wow, back-to-back goals for the Toronto Marlies, and a great chance at one end by the Texas Stars, and then the Marlies right back the other way, and they get sprung on a 2-on-1 break. And watch the passes as they chip it up the wall, and that's a play where Johnson picks it up, he spots Hall with him, and Hall kind of dips his shoulder like he's going to take the shot, and he slides it across, and the open goal for Johnson, and he ties up the hockey game.
Greening bends it back in. Gauthier after it. Off the glass, the Stars doing a great lot of work in that second period, but now it's all tied up at 2 apiece. Dries. Loverde puts it back out into center. Engvall steps into it across the line. Engvall shoots, and a good save by McKenna to keep it at 2 apiece. Andreas Johnson has tied things up here for the Toronto Marlies at 2 apiece.
My name is Paul McGuire. I'm interviewing Leafs alumni. I'm going to find out why Toronto fans and players have a saying, once a Leaf, always a Leaf.
I grew up bleeding Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Playing for Toronto, it's unbelievable.
It was a huge honor when I became captain. You're representing the team.
When you grow up here, and then you actually get to play with the team, it's a pretty special thing.
Once you've pulled on the jersey, you are always a Leaf.
Looking for a hotel that fits your budget? TripAdvisor now searches over 200 sites to find you the hotel you want at the lowest price. Grazie, Gino. Find a price that fits. TripAdvisor.
Well, the Marlies were trailing 2-0, and then they get the opportunity. Brent Regner with the block, and then Timashov gets a little piece of it, but then Regner goes to clear it, and he puts it right between the pads of his goaltender, and that was the score to make it 2-1. But 47 seconds later, the Toronto Marlies, a 2-on-1 break. Johnson to Hall, back to Johnson, and his 7th Calder Cup playoff goal has tied this game at 2 apiece with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to play here in the second period.
That is a tough goal to take if you're Regner. Timashov happy to be the last one to touch it. Altonen comes in to take the draw here. to the glove side of Mike McKenna. One back high to the line. Dermott trying to get it down a little closer, but it is cut off. Dermott gets it back. McKenzie in front of him as Dermott lifts it down the ice, and Hetherington got his mitt on it as Dowling comes to it. Across the line, he's trying to cut in past Loverde. Dermott, here's a chance as Janssen got it on the backhand, turns around, he's got Altonen at the goal, and he's got Grundstrom getting to it in the corner. Grundstrom looks out, Altonen is there as Grundstrom tries to take it in, and boy, he ran into a wall of Stars.
Well, they continue to pound that line whenever possible. And right there, Grundstrom trying to do some work on his own, and he gets bombarded by a couple of different Stars, including Hetherington.
Marchment at the line. Marincin scrambles to keep it in. Back to Marchment again. Here's the one-time loose puck out front. Moore trying to get to it, and it is cleared back out and down the ice. Hall will knock it back in. Moore tried to get there quickly. Loverde working along the wall. Brooks comes in and got a touch to it. It is played back out, and that line wanted to make a change, and they'll do just that. Rosen long pass looking for Mueller. He'll fight his way back over to the far side as Ellie comes to it. Flynn onto the stick of Timashov, and he wanted the shot, but it wandered on him, and his stick broke in the process. And he comes back to the bench and gets a new one. Here comes Bodnarchuk cutting in. Loverde says not today. Mueller pushes it to the wall. Timashov plays it off the glass awkwardly. Rosen steps into it. Now he and Smith work back the other way. Ben Smith out front, and it's redirected back to Smith. And it looked like he was going to have a glorious chance.
Wow, was that close?
Here's Rosen. Back for Mueller in the corner. Smith turning around, looking out front. Time winding down, less than 10 seconds. Here's Janssen. Looking back out. Up high. Rosen waits, shoots, traffic. Can't get it toward the goal. At the end of 40 minutes of play, we are tied up at 2 apiece, and behind the goal, Mueller is tied up as well.
Well, the Toronto Marlies had dug themselves a 2-0 hole against, but they battle back in the never say quit attitude of this hockey club, and we're knotted up with a pair each after 40 minutes.
Resiliency has been the name of the game throughout this whole series. Each team seemingly able to continue and battle regardless of the circumstances. The Marlies, of course, hold a 2-1 lead in the series, and it looked dire after Texas took a 2-0 lead. But the Marlies picking up 2 goals to even things up as we will head to the intermission in just a moment. And we're going to go down first, though, rinkside to Paul Hendrick.
Yes, and Curtis McKenzie, Todd, standing by. 2 goals here tonight. It took less than a minute to undo all the great things you and your teammates accomplished. How do you get back on track here in the final 20?
It's just the way we started. That's when we're playing a team this skilled, you can't sit back, and we got loose, and that's what happened. Tie game. So they have that much talent. They're going to have pushes, and we got to be ready to match it. So just got to reset in the room right now and come back out with our legs going.
Stars power play has been clipping at nearly 40%. What have been the keys to a successful power play here over the course of the 4 games?
It's just, I think with our unit, when we're getting pucks directed to the net, that we score goals. When we get fancy and just want to make too many passes is when we struggle. And we've been a lot more direct lately, and that's helping us score goals on the power play.
Curtis, thank you. It should be a fun next 20.
All right, thanks.
Captain Curtis McKenzie, he has 2 goals in this game, his 10th of the season. The Marlies have replied with 2. We're tied up at 2 after 2.
One action here in the dying minutes. Leafs keep the puck in, 1:25 remaining. It is center. Clark scores! Wendell Clark, 3rd goal of the game, and ties it with 1:21 remaining in regulation time.
Wendell coming off the bench,
and getting the puck from Doug Gilmour, and he made no mistake as he ripped that wrist shot for his 3rd goal of the night.
My father, who was a brewer before me, and have to say, yes, you're doing a good job, is like means the world to me. You work hard, you get the job done, but at the end of the day, we go for a beer.
When he told me that I want to do this, then I said, yep, go, just work hard, and things will come your way.
Big shoes to fill, that's for sure, but...
Doing a good job, Dave, you're doing a good job.
No expectations. We know the end result's unbelievable, and it's neat to see how it's put together.
I didn't know what was going to happen.
You'd have done all right back in the 60s. That was young there, that's great.
My bottom lip was too large, as a matter of fact, and there were marks, crinkles that show up when I smile, so he was going to put a few more of those in.
Well, I'm in the middle of the bench. Daryl and I are actually hopping the boards. He's going on to kill a penalty. I'm going to serve a penalty. It's neat to see what he starts with. You're using 2D pictures to make a 3D image, and it's unbelievable talent.
It's good, always fun to, especially their birthdays, try and make it a little extra special, bringing them in here today, and we had a lot of fun, so it was good.
Seem pretty feisty out there, interesting, picking fights with guys. How would you describe him as a hockey player?
Yeah, a little feisty. He's just likes to have fun out there, and so it's a good thing.
He's a lot of energy. He's funny. I mean, just the whole Merlot family's been great since they've been here, and I mean they've came in with open arms, and they're all awesome. They're all a lot of fun to hang around, and they're very, very competitive. So that's very good to see at a young age, and it's pretty funny when you're playing mini six with them. I mean, it's his 9th birthday, so it's, yeah, just so everyone knows it's his birthday.
Brody, how do you feel out there today?
Good. It's my birthday. I'm having fun.
Do you like hanging out with Mitch? You guys have...
Yeah.
Hope you have a happy birthday. What are you going to remember most about your practice with the Leafs?
Mitch and my dad and Matthew's the favorite guys.
They're trying to move it up. It's to the corner. Pass comes out front. Roberts had his stuff. And now behind the net. Sundin jumps out in front. Leafs are all over the net there now. Here's a chance at the line. Big shot by Pomerleigh. Shoots right in. Scramble. Score! The Leafs have tied the game. And the place goes crazy.
Welcome back to Cedar Park, and it is Deuces Wild 2-2. The Marlies and the Stars after 2 periods of play deep in the heart of Texas. Well, it has been 2 years since the Toronto Maple Leafs began their banner delivery process, and on Monday, this past Monday at least, the 19th and final banner was delivered, and for legendary captain Matt Sundin, it was all about health, healing, and hope, and the arena of his choice, the Toronto Hospital for Sick Children.
Kids under the age of 6. We've been moving back in Sweden and spending family time and doing a lot of other things than just hockey. Visiting here for so many years as a player, people are going through some difficult times, so I figured if they want the banner to hang here, I would love to have it here, and they really enjoy the idea, so it was a great match. I wanted to find a way to give back to the great city of Toronto and also to Stockholm, where I grew up. And it turns out that the University of Toronto and the Karolinska Institute already had an exchange program with young PhD students, and we wanted to have a fellowship within that program. It's been a fantastic experience for myself, get to understand and learn how hard these researchers work.
This week-long exchange was developed to provide broad-based interdisciplinary training to graduate students as well as clinical fellows in the areas of developmental and perinatal biology. And we are very happy and proud that most recently the program has been supported by the great generosity of Matt Sundin.
I got so much out of the game of hockey and so much from being in Toronto. It's a fantastic way for me to give back not only time and work, donation, money of course, but also see how that's being used now to develop and help kids and different diseases. So it's a great relationship for me.
Hockey fans, visit AHLstore.com today to buy officially licensed team jerseys from CCM and to shop a great selection of league merchandise. So head there now and save 15% on all orders when you type in the promo code GOAL. Head to AHL Store now and save.
Before the season gets underway, Leaf players both past and present sit down for a hilarious heart-to-heart.
Hey guys, I'm Zach Hyman.
Hi, I'm Austin Matthews.
Brick 5.
Daryl Sittler here. Behind the scenes like you've never seen them before.
You sing a little bit?
No, I'm not singing.
No, just a little
Good
bit.
try. That's not happening.
There you go. Witness the Leafs as the fun, feisty, and hardworking teammates they truly are on Leaf to Leaf.
It's the facts of the game that there's probably more capable players than there are sweaters every night in the NHL. I think I'm still in that part of my career where I'm trying to earn it every day and gain that long-term security. When you're out of the lineup, I think you've got to continue to put the effort and the intensity level in it. At the end of the day, it's got to translate. You got to go out and you got to do it when the lights are on.
For their third last stop on the Banner Tour, the Maple Leafs visited Brandon, Manitoba, hometown of goaltending great Turk Broda. A Wheat Kings home game would serve as the backdrop for the festivities as the city turned out to honor one of their province's favorite sons. It was evident that those who call Brandon their home today love the game as much as Turk did. The charismatic netminder was often fond of saying, "I'm just a fellow who likes to play hockey. The Maple Leafs paid me for my work and practices. I threw in the games for free." In the end, Brandon fans had stood witness to a 7-3 victory over the visiting Swift Current Broncos. And the Leafs had found a new permanent home for Turk Broda's original Bay Street banner.
No expectations. We know the end result's unbelievable, and it's neat to see how it's put together.
I didn't know what was going to happen.
You'd have done all right back in the 60s.
Hey,
I look young there. That's great.
My bottom lip was too large, as a matter of fact, and there were marks, crinkles that show up when I smile, so he was going to put a few more of those in.
Well, I'm in the middle of the bench. Daryl and I are actually hopping the boards. He's going on to kill a penalty. I'm going to serve a penalty. It's neat to see what he starts with. You're using 2D pictures to make a 3D image, and it's unbelievable talent.
I've been a Leaf fan since I was in the womb.
Well, anybody who knows me knows the Toronto Maple Leafs are a part of my life.
This is the only toilet that came from Maple Leaf Gardens.
Go, Leafs, go!
Leafs go! Go Leafs go!
The Toronto Marlies have rallied from 2 goals down to get a couple from the Swedish embassy, Timashov and then Janssen, and all of a sudden after 40 we are tied at 2 apiece. Welcome back to Cedar Park, Texas for Game 4 of the Calder Cup Championship Series as we welcome back Todd and Bob, McGill and Crocker. And guys, what a game here and what bounce back for the Toronto Marlies. And both of you guys, I'd like you to comment if you could on Andreas Janssen, who's been under the gun this series, seen all sorts of pressure, but the compete has always been there and he was rewarded with a terrific goal.
Well, and I think that's the idea if you're the Texas Stars. You take a look at what the Toronto Marlies have produced. It has come a lot from Andreas Janssen. The idea you had to know when you took a look at the video was if we could shut these guys down, maybe we could also manage a couple of other lines in the process. The Marlies were rolling all 4 lines, but Janssen was a key in this one. And if he comes alive and starts doing what he did, Bob, this could be interesting.
Well, you're right about that. If you go back to before this series started, he had a 6-game point streak going with 11 points in those 6 games. So obviously the Stars keyed on that top line to try and keep them in check. Janssen off the score sheet the first 2 games. He gets an assist in game number 3 to kick things off for the Marlies in that 2-1 victory. And now here tonight, he gets the goal that ties this game up. And so he's starting to come alive, and that line along with Grundstrom and Aaltonen picking it up, and they are going to be tough to keep in check. And if they can continue to do what they've done through, I believe, the first 40 minutes, they'll be in good shape.
Toronto Marlies lead the series 2-1 in position here to go up 3-1, but a tough 20 minutes awaits. Toronto, Texas tied at 2 after 2.
$112 points, 54 wins, 6 shutouts, 9 straight playoff wins. But it all comes down to this. Toronto Marlies, Texas Stars for the Calder Cup on Leafs Nation Network.
There was plenty of mystery about Johnny Bower during his NHL career with the Maple Leafs. Many asked him repeatedly how old he was. Why did it take him so long to make the NHL? And how did he perfect his signature move, the poke check? The 3 items that were never in question were his ability to win, his incredible competitiveness, and his ability to stop the puck when it counted most. Bauer joined the Leafs from the AHL's Cleveland Barons just before the start of the 1958-59 season. He had played a single season for the New York Rangers earlier in the decade, but the Leafs had claimed him off waivers in the hope he would join them. He initially showed a reluctance to leave the comforts of the AHL for one last shot at the big time, but he relented. The Leafs and their fans were eternally grateful that he decided to come to Toronto, because it's highly possible that without Bauer, none of the 4 Cup championships in the next decade would have happened. Some goalies had more wins, some had more shutouts or a better average, but none could match his competitive spirit. None could equal his play in big games. None could make as many timely saves as did the man they fondly called the China Wall. Bauer always played with fans and media alike as to his correct age. He coolly mentioned he did not know, but most likely he joined the Leafs when he was 33 years old. It was in an era when that age meant almost certain retirement, but Bauer played an amazing 12 more seasons. The Prince Albert, Saskatchewan native retired in 1969 at the age of 45. In his cabinet were 4 Stanley Cups and the respect of the hockey world. In 1976, Johnny Bower was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
So you've seen your buds battle it out on the ice, but have you seen them battle it out in NHL 18? Well, guess what? It's preseason bonding time. The Toronto Maple Leafs NHL 18 face-off goes down. You can only catch it on Leafs Nation Network.
Welcome back. The Texas Stars have played in 37 overtime games this season. Might another await them here tonight. 20 minutes to go. Toronto, Texas, all tied up at 2-2. Guys, let's send it back up to you.
Well, thanks, Paul. The Toronto Marlies coming back from a 2-0 deficit, Bob, and that puts them in good stead.
Well, it really does. You know, it's something where they got some momentum, no question about it. When they are tied after 2 periods of play in the Calder Cup playoffs, they're 4-0, but the Texas Stars are pretty darn good too. They're 3-1 when tied after 2 as well. So this is anybody's game, no question about it. But I would think that Texas feeling some heat after giving up that 2-0 advantage here on home ice.
No doubt they'll try to recapture what they brought in that first period. As Curtis McKenzie told Paul Hendrick at the start of the intermission, you got to get back to what they were doing that was working. You can't sit back against this Marlies team. Here's Marincin waiting on it. And Gauthier knocked it down, turned around, fired one toward the goal, and back out it comes. Dickinson waits on it. He sent it by everybody. And that'll be picked up on the icing call and brought all the way back. And the Marlies will make a change on that play, taking off the Gauthier line and bringing on Chris Mueller and his crew.
Well, then the Marlies, short, quick changes here, and they want to try and keep this tempo going. And that's what they're all about. It's all about speed and tempo. Push the pace.
Mueller and Smith rolling out of that one. And he stumbles again. And it is picked up by a Bayreuther. Out into center, Mueller lets it go as Timothy Liljegren was right there. Rosen chipped back in by Mueller. There goes Smith after it again. Bayreuther is able to pick it up for the Stars and get it back out into center. Down the ice, Dowling was there. He was left all alone, but he couldn't get the puck. And now that is hammered back in by Smith. Timashov is on. He's got Aaltonen with him. Miro Aaltonen turns around and races to it. Quick foot speed. Timashov out of the corner and now rolls in behind the goal. Grundstrom out with them. Timashov turns around. He wants to find Grundstrom. You can almost sense it, but he has to come back up high. Dermott, broken stick as he sent one down toward the goal. Grundstrom back to it. They'll put a new player on instead of get a new stick out there. And down the ice, Dowling, but Marincin right back, finding Aaltonen. He turns around on it. He and Janssen working back with Grundstrom across the line. And that one, he was just trying to sneak along into Janssen. Marincin sent it back in, and he caught Aaltonen, but it was offside.
Yep, the official blew it dead as he saw the puck go off the shin pad of Miro Aaltonen as this second period gets underway. And, you know, it's something where you talked about earlier where Dowling left unattended there out in front of the Toronto goal, and they couldn't get him the puck. And that top line, you've got to really be aware of them if you're the Toronto Marlies, because the Texas Stars top trio has been tremendous through this first 3+ games.
Got a shot blocker that has come off. Flynn shows it to the linesman. He seems uninterested, but he gives it to the other one. Off the draw, Moore races to it. Hall gets there. He got to stick toward it, but not on it. And now Marincin across the line, but Regner is there. He plays it along. Shot. Gurianov tried to get it to the goal. Stepping in here is his first game in this series, and he's after it again as he pitches it over to the far side. Marincin, open ice, trying to get there quick was Hall. Round behind the goal it goes. Marincin, Hall will race for it again. Hintz finds it. And now back up ice it comes to the blue line. Cross ice, making a change here. There's a shot and a lot of traffic out front as it's sent over for Marincin. He looks up ice. He's got Marchment, but he just spins away, trying to get away from Brian Flynn. Dickinson out patrolling. And now here comes Aaltonen. Up through the middle, dishes it off. Johnsson trails it in, looks to cut in on the backhand, on goal! And that one, the net knocked off as Johnsson crashes in on McKenna. The puck sitting right there, 5 or 6 inches away from the goal line, but they could not find a way to get it over.
Well, if there was another Marley player right on the heels of Johnsson, he may have been able to chip that puck in before the net was knocked off, and actually Grundstrom tried to get it, but a good burst of speed by Andreas Johnsson, and he tries to cut around number 24 on the play, Reese Scarlett, and he gets cross-checked and he loses his balance, but he almost slips it underneath the goalie McKenna, and then the puck laying there, and it gets
Dermott toward the goal, off of McKenna. Johnsson still trying to get to it. Puck lost, but now recovered by Johnsson. Looks out front, cuts back towards center, and they relieve him of the puck, but Johnsson is not done on the play. Travis Dermott throwing the hip check. Liljegren hard into the boards from Remieli, and he is getting back up and back to the bench, but it is picked up, and Aaltonen got his stick on it, checked that one, and now they knock him down. The crowd loving this style. Back up, Mangine couldn't keep it in at the line, and the Marlies are going to be able to get in a change that is sorely needed.
Well, you get the crowd back involved with a big body check, and Remieli, we spoke of him earlier, using his speed and then his size to be able to get in and crush Liljegren on the play, but they're unable to get anything from that as far as trying to generate an offensive chance.
In the corner, L'Esperance tries to get to it. Graining sends it back behind the goal. Gauthier racing to it, and as he cut along, Mangine got caught up with the net. Mike McKenna tries to sell a face-off outside the zone. Nobody buys.
Well, the Texas Stars, having given up a 2-0 advantage in the second period, trying to get things going back their way, and Remieli showing some strength right there on the youngster in Timothy Liljegren, and he gets pushed into the boards pretty heavily, but the Marlies end up with the puck and exit the zone. And we're going to continue on with a face-off in the Texas zone to the right of Mike McKenna.
Back up to the blue line. Rosen lifts it to the far side. Travis Moore in there to pick it up, and he puts it back out into center. Crossing back through the middle. Here's Dowling trying to get around Rosen. This is almost a pick play, it looked like, from basketball, as McKenzie was right there as well. Lifted down into the Texas zone. Bayreuther using the body. Engvall, Greening, cross ice. Gauthier was heading off, and there he goes. Engvall behind the goal. Over to Greening. Rips one on goal, but McKenna comes up with the save. 4:33 gone in the third period. We're all tied up at 2 here in game number 4.
Well, and you look at chances for and against in this hockey game, and the Texas Stars scored 2 goals on their first 12 shots, and they've only generated 3 shots on goal since then, so 28-15 shots favoring the Toronto Marlies, and that's something, and the success of Toronto with their 5 consecutive road victories coming into tonight's contest has been their ability to shut down the opposition and not give up too many shots. And again here tonight, just 15 on the board for the Texas Stars.
Smith leans in, and Timashov to the wall. He's pulled down in the process as it bounces back the other way. Marincin looking for Smith, turning around, Hintz at the blue line. That puck just will not get there, and Mueller makes the pass to Smith. A little extra effort. Certainly saw that in morning skate as well. Hintz fires it down the ice. Hall comes back after it. And not a bad play by Hintz there to hammer it off the boards to see if it can't get back to his man who was coming in after it.
Well, and that used to be a good play when you had to touch the puck for the icing call. And you look at shots against. Game 1, you know, they gave up 37, 24 in game 2, 20 the other night. But when they closed out the conference finals against the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, they gave up 16 and 20 shots the last 2 games. and they won, and they only
Here,
gave up one goal in those 2 games.
Moore trying to send it back out front. Marchment got away from him. And now back down the ice come the Stars as they try to get the bodies off that were caught on after the icing. Rosen along to Brooks. He's got men to help out, and Brooks sends it to the far side. Moore will have to work out of the corner against Bodnarchuk, and Ellie gets a hold of it, and the Stars bring it back briefly across the line. Adam Brooks decided he's got to come back and get a little bit of room, and the Marlies are going to make a change here as Calle Rosen patrols his own blue line with the puck, chips it along the boards and back in. Rundstrom, Altonen, and Janssen back out for the Marlies. We got a penalty coming up here to the Marlies as Loverde gives it a touch and a slash called in what has been a fascinating game as far as the lack of penalties. In fact, the last game as well, but
it's going to go to Mason Marchment as he was getting ready to exit the ice. I thought it didn't look like much at all, but Terry Koharski, the official, decides that it's a lot more than you think it is. And at the top of your screen, Mason Marchment is going to stop, and then right there, he kind of just lays the stick. I mean, to me, if you're in a finals game, hey, if you're going to two-hand a guy, sure, I'm going to be all in favor of you giving a penalty. But to me, that's a weak call by the official in a 2-2 hockey game. You better be laying the lumber on somebody to sit in the box for 2 minutes.
Well, and for what has been let go, you might say.
Yes.
Here's Flynn. Back through the middle as he cuts around. Dowling out front. He was trying to catch the man coming back. Flynn. Cross ice. It'll be Loverde who gets a hold of it. And now Greening back across the line. Loverde following it up, and he just did not quite get there. And then Loverde spun after it. He's going to have to get back quick. Mismatched here, but picked up by Greening on a lazy pass. Greening coming back, 3-on-1. Ben Smith shoots just wide of the mark as the Marlies looking for a short-handed one and a cross-check into the boards.
Wow.
And that one is let go.
Yeah.
7 minutes
gone. What a great opportunity for Ben Smith as Greening hits him as the late man, and he tries to go up and over the blocking glove of the goaltender McKinnon. He misses the mark.
Right back in. There's Mangine calling for it, but that one is out of play. 45 seconds left to go in the penalty to Mason Marchment.
Well, and back-to-back opportunities, and then the turnover by the Stars right here at the offensive blue line, and then Greening picks it up and right back the other way. On the far side, you've got Laverde, but it's Ben Smith up the middle, and he's right down Main Street, and he's trying to make the perfect shot, and he pays a price at the end of it as Regner hits him pretty heavily into the side wall. But we're going to continue on with this Texas power play. 40 seconds left in it. They're 1 for 1 coming into this second opportunity here, and they've been 50% in the series, 4 for 8.
Back in, they race in to the corner. Greening after it. Boy, they enter the zone with some purpose on the power play. Dermott and Hall in behind the goal. Greening comes back to it. Tried to clear it back up and out. Didn't. Turning around, Ellie knocked at the blue line. Comes back to Hall, and he's got Gauthier all the way down the ice, but they're just going to drop it down the ice with 5 seconds left to play. Marchment ready to step back on, and here he is. 5-on-5, and the Marlies kill off that one. Marincin. Long one ahead for Marchment. Drops it back for Moore, and across the line, Trevor Moore dances toward the goal and then turns back around. He's still with it as Scarlett got on top of him, and the Stars able to clear it. Markinson right back in. Round behind the goal, looking back for a little bit of support. Gurianov was there, but the Marlies steal it away, and Marchment finding Moore again. Across the line, Moore fighting through a check along the boards. Out front looking for Brooks, but it is off Brooks, and the Marlies caught back. Here's 3-on-2, back in for the Stars, waiting on it. Shot, blocked, trying to follow it up. Into the corner it goes. Regner waiting for it. Back over, hard shot. Rebound comes out, the only one there. Liljegren as it's chipped back out. Ben Smith in alone against two Stars. Cuts back in toward the goal. And a good job done by Bodnarchuk to keep him from getting to Mike McKenna. Good pace here in the third period, tied at 2. Waiting on it, Regner. Smith throws a stick at it, but now a long pass that was intended for Flynn, and that'll be picked up on the icing call and brought all the way back. It was an awkward looking icing. Sometimes they look so clean. That one just didn't look like it was either going to have enough or get there, but it did.
Yeah, well, the linesman, on top of it on that play, he's on the far side of the ice. He was watching pretty intently as Dermott goes back to chase that down, and we'll have a face-off to the left of McKenna, the goaltender for the Texas Stars.
Hetherington lifts it back out. Loverde. Dermott mishandles it. Johnson tried to bring it across. Regner back. Morin along for L'Esperance. Shot high into the glass. Turn around. That one pops back up to the blue line. It's a bit of a hopper, and at the line, it's kept in. Altonen trying to get back. Nice little move by Morin, but it doesn't get to Dowling. Winding up Mangine. Scores! Past the toe of Garrett Sparks. Dowling gets the tip on the Mangine shot.
Well, the Texas Stars come up with the loose puck in the Toronto zone, and it's that pass to the far defenseman, and Mangine takes a look up, and then he spots gets this puck past the guy who's trying to block it as the forward comes out towards the point, and Dowling in the high slot area redirects it as he gets a piece of it, and his fourth goal of the Calder Cup playoffs has gotten the lead back for the Texas Stars in this one. It's now a 3-2 hockey game.
Mangine back through the middle. Sent in Marincin. They'll have to find it with Justin Hall. And he turns back as the Stars regain the lead. They had a 2-goal lead. Up ice, Engvall whips one down toward the goal. And the Marlies came back to tie it up at 2 apiece. Now back on top, 3-2. Marincin waits, turns around on the backhand. He wanted to get the shot. There's the shot as it's up and over the wall, and Gauthier is knocked down on the play, and a high stick called. 9:21 left to go. When we return, the Toronto Marlies will have the man advantage in Cedar Park.
Ever wonder why the puck is frozen before a game? Do pregame rituals actually work? And what makes a slap shot so fast? We're gonna tell all in our brand new show on Leafs Nation Network, hosted by yours truly. My name is Anthony Morgan, and this is Secrets in Science.
Hands go here. Feet go here. You know what goes here. And your approval rating goes here. Test drive the Z-Track Z540R at your John Deere dealer and learn why it's not how fast you mow. It's how well you mow fast. Nothing runs like a Deere. Save $455 on the Z500 series Z-Track mowers.
I'm William Nylander, and you're watching the Leafs Nation Network.
Well, the Toronto Marlies will go to just their second power play opportunity of the hockey game, and Frederick Gauthier gets a high stick from Sheldon Dries in the high slot area as Toronto trying to get a goal from Marty Marincin, but nonetheless, their power play has been something that needs to jump or get into gear for them. They scored the winning goal in game number 1 on the power play. That's the only power play they've scored. They're 1 for 9 in the series. So that would be an opportune time to get it in gear to tie this game back up here in the third period as they trail by a goal.
Had a good run, didn't have success, but had a good run in the first go-round in this game. Mueller, that one will have to start 200 feet away. As they own the zone for a good minute and a half, really didn't give the second unit, or the first unit, depending on how you look at it, a chance to get on the ice, but for 30 seconds. Now here's Moore back across the line and around behind the goal, finding Mueller up along the near side. At the blue line, Rosen quickly moving into Timashov as the Marlies set up, and a pass across, knocked down. Here's Markusen coming back, short-handed chance out front, and he was looking for Dickinson and did not find him. Here's a chance again, cleared, and the Marlies give up 2 short-handed chances. Timashov comes back into the zone and plays it to the far side. Altonen went for a spin along the wall. Grundstrom cross ice, getting some time. But it is redirected out of play.
Well, when your power play's not going for you, sometimes you're trying to force plays, and Timashov trying to force the puck across, and off to the races is Markusen. He tries to find Jason Dickinson. He doesn't quite get it, but then Dickinson picks up the loose puck, and it's the late man Bodnerchuk jumping in the zone, and instead of shooting it, he tries to thread the needle to Markusen, and they don't come up with the play. But the Toronto Marlies power play almost giving up a power play or a shorthanded goal against, and that would be disastrous at this point of the hockey game with 8:05 to go, 44 seconds to go on this power play opportunity for the Toronto Marlies.
Carl Grundstrom will take the draw. He doesn't do this very often. And he gets it over to Engvall, but then Regner steps in and McKenzie will give it the ride. The crowd shows some appreciation. Less than 8 minutes to play and 34 seconds or less on the power play. Here's Dermott with speed back through the middle. Dermott back in, Grundstrom in his feet. He was looking for Engvall, didn't get it to him. But that the best opportunity in type for the Marlies. Haltonen back over Janssen. Grundstrom and Janssen at the line, and boy, Janssen couldn't get that back to the line, and now it is cleared all the way back down the ice by the Stars, and that should do it.
Now the Stars penalty killers very aggressive on Janssen and certainly on Grundstrom, and as a result the turnover and the penalty killed off.
Brooks' stick knocked out of his hand. Marchment comes over to the wall, lifted all the way back down the ice. This one will go back on the icing call with 7:06 left to go here in the third period. Marlies trying to pick up the goal that will bring it back to even at 3 apiece. They worked hard to get back to 2 apiece. This Stars team, as we said, resiliency from both sides has been a lot in this series.
Yeah, the Stars gave up the 2 goals to allow Toronto back into it, and then they had a power play themselves in the third period. The Marlies penalty killers did the job, but it's the 5-on-5 goal that's the difference in this one right now.
Dickinson plays it back out. Rosen off the boards, finding Marchment. He skates to it, and it gets left behind on some sticky ice. And he's knocked down, cross ice, getting out front, but Hall couldn't get the shot there, and tripped up was Hintz. No call. The crowd saw it otherwise. Justin Hall put it up ice across the blue line, but the Stars able to get a hold of it. Tipped in to the near side corner. Liljegren. Greening waits on it. With some speed, Marincin along across the line to Engvall, drops it back. Greening down into the corner. Right there is Matt Mangine. Greening again. Engvall trying to roll back out of the corner. Force one toward the goal. Gauthier back to it. High on the line. Marincin winds up. Hard shot. Boy, Greening ducked. But Mike McKenna, he saw it. 5:53 remaining here in the third period. The Marlies looking for a goal to even things up. We'll be back.
So you've seen your favorite buds battle it out on the ice, but have you seen them battle it out in NHL 18? Well, guess what? It's preseason bonding time. The Toronto Maple Leafs NHL 18 face-off goes down.
Oh, no.
You suck. Let's go! Let's go!
Yes! There's no way.
Yeah!
You can only catch it on Leafs Nation Network.
Holy shoot, is he a player?
Turn your fantasy into reality. You could earn a chance to win Toronto Maple Leafs season tickets for 2018-2019. Visit mbna.ca/Leafs for full contest rules.
My name is Paul McGuire. I'm interviewing Leafs alumni. I'm going to find out why Toronto fans and players have a saying, once a Leaf, always a Leaf.
I grew up bleeding Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Playing for Toronto, it's unbelievable.
It was a huge honor when I became captain. You're representing the team.
When you grow up here, then you actually get to play with the team. It's a pretty special thing.
Once you've pulled on the jersey, you are always a Leaf.
Well, the Texas Stars are led by their top line, and look no further than these three guys to get it done for the hockey club. 8 of the 11 goals in this series have been scored by this top line, and that trio was part of the 2014 Texas Stars that won the Calder Cup championship, and they're looking to continue what they did back in 2014, and obviously the Toronto Marlies have something to say about it, but that top line has been money for the Stars.
Well, we can shut him down. Dermott toward the goalie. Caught Janssen in the back. And at the line, Dermott able to keep it in. Plays it off into some open ice where Mueller comes to it. Janssen turns around. Chips it back up the wall, but it bounces right in front of Dowling, and he plays it all the way back. McKenzie, quick back to it. He and Dermott meet up, and Hall skates to it. Trying to fight off Dowling is Hall, and they push it back out across the line. Mueller got a hit there. He collided with Morin, it looks like. And Travis Morin hobbled a little bit as he comes to the bench. Dermott lifts it across into the Texas zone. Smith. A little shot there from Regner, back up along the near wall. Justin Hall keeps it in. Janssen trying to fire it back out front. Janssen, Hall, and just couldn't get the shot away.
Well, Justin Hall had it on his stick, but I think he was surprised by it, and it just slid off as he was in a good position to have a putback.
Along the near wall, Ben Smith still out after it. Played to the far side. Bodnerchuk trying to get there. It gets by a couple. Mason Marchment reaches back. Fed back in toward the middle. Dickinson out front. Nice little play, but it didn't finish out for Remieli. It comes back to Adam Brooks, trying to carry it across the line, defended by Dickinson. Brooks pressuring Bayreuther. And now Brooks will steal it away with Marchman's help. Brooks waiting on it, turns around, Moore calling for it, and he just could not quite get there. Brooks reaches back, and it is picked up and deposited back into the Toronto zone. Hintz, Loverde bumps into him, giving him a little bit back. Out front, shot right on, and a great chance by Flynn, but Sparks comes up with the save. 3:56 left to go as the Marlies looking for that goal that will tie things up here in the third period of game number 4.
I've been a Leaf fan since I was in the womb.
Well, anybody who knows me knows the Toronto Maple Leafs are a part of my life.
This is the only toilet that came from Maple Leaf Gardens.
Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go!
We are one nation. We are one team. And we stand witness. Molson Canadian. A taste of who we are.
We've got 5 goals in this hockey game. Texas gets things going on the power play. Curtis McKenzie scores at 10:50, and then they would get the second goal of the hockey game. Justin Dowling would make it a 2-0 game, but the Marlies would come back as Timashov gets credited with the goal, his 6th of the season, and Andreas Janssen, 47 seconds later, it's tied at 2 apiece after 40 minutes of play, and Justin Dowling on a redirection off a shot from Mangin at 9:58 is the difference in this one, as we've got 3:51 to play in regulation time and a 3-2 Stars lead over the Toronto Marlies.
Well, that exchange ended up out of play, so we'll do it again. Left side of Garrett Sparks, Gauthier and Flynn. In the defensive zone for the Marlies, but it comes back. Hintz sends it back high to the line. Bayreuther, long shot, goes wide, and it is gathered in by Engvall, but only briefly. And now chasing it down, Greening, but Mangin steps away, and he sends it into the Toronto zone. Sparks up along for Greening. He played it back out into center. He's hoping Engvall could catch up to it. Now he does. He turns around and across the blue line. Engvall driving out wide, trying to cut toward the goal and center it back out. Greening will get in after it as well. And it's lifted back down the ice. Gauthier will retreat after it. The Marlies will make a change. And Frederick Gauthier will send it just across the line, but not far, as McKenzie steps around Rosen down into the corner, feeding it back out to Travis Morin. There's McKenzie at the side of the goal. Almost looked like he was going to pitch it in. He didn't. Sparks was good on it.
No, that's a play where Frederick Gauthier needed a change, and then he gets some open ice and decides he's going to try and get the puck in. Well, you've got to make sure you get it deep, and it almost backfires as the Stars come right back the other way, and they get the puck down below the goal line again. And this time, as they throw it out front, Morin throws it up, and you've got the captain who's got a pair of goals in this one, and Curtis McKenzie trying to jam another one past that pad of Garrett Sparks.
Well, that top line comes off. Sheldon Dries against Adam Brooks. They want everybody to back up. A lot of conversation, but the puck comes right back to Brooks as he moves it along to Andreas Janssen. Pops out, Brooks, backhander! Boy, he got a great opportunity off a weird bounce from the boards. Here's Rosen toward the goal, up, and it is McKenna, and now everybody out front finds a dance partner. Hetherington and Moore are all tied up. Koharski right in the middle of that one.
Well, you got to show some discipline here with 2:36 to play. You don't want to be the one that puts your club down in a situation where you go to the penalty box. But what a great, it starts with the dump in by Janssen, and it hits the stanchion and it bounces out, and it goes, and Brooks gets the chance, and then again they get the puck, and it's the shot from the blue line. McKenzie makes the initial save, and then the puck squirts up into the air, and he grabs it with his catching glove, and then pushed into McKenzie by the Marlies was his own defenseman, and then all heck breaks loose there, and cooler heads prevail. There's no penalties on the play, and we'll have a face-off in the Texas zone. 2:36 to play, and the Marlies still down by a goal.
Garrett Sparks is going to come out of the game here with 2:36 remaining in the face-off deep into the Texas zone. That's a lot of time.
That's
2:36.
a lot of time is right.
Mueller ready to take the draw. Smith on his right, Moore to his left. Timashov directly behind him. Marinch in there. And the Stars with Dowling out. Flynn taking the draw. Comes back. Timashov waits. Shoots! Just sent it wide. McKenzie trying to get back to it in the corner. Picked up by Smith. Working out of the corner. Moore pops loose. Gets back. Lifted up and out of the zone. Martin Marincin. The Marlies with 6 attackers. Drop back. Here comes Moore through the middle and across the line. Moore still working on it. He's upended in the process. Ben Smith puts a body to it. Reese Scarlett lifts it back down the ice. And they'll get back on the icing and drive it all the way back deep into the Texas zone.
Yeah, that's the play where, you know, Trevor Moore tries to gain the blue line. He chips it in, and then he gets taken heavily into the wall, and they don't have a second man to be able to jump on that loose puck. But the Stars ice the puck, so the Toronto Marlies get an opportunity here. Still 1:54 to go in this 3-2 game.
Chris Mueller. Dowling will come in to take this draw. Engvall to his left, Grundstrom to his right. Andreas Janssen out there as well. Janssen had the goal that tied it up as it is picked up but not past Engvall. He tried to get it down along the boards. As they work at the blue line, they get it out. Mueller quickly moves it to Loverde. Janssen hammers it along the glass. Asks Engvall to get to it, and he does. Back for Grundstrom behind the goal. Grundstrom finding Janssen. Looking out of the corner, Grundstrom picks it up on his backhand. Turns back out front. Lifted to Mueller, tries to get to it. It's picked up and cleared back out. And this one will go wide of the mark, and Loverde will pick it up on the icing call.
Well, 1:21 to go as the Marlies get the puck into the offensive zone, and it just hits a skate as Grundstrom tries to make a play from behind the net as he's going to turn and try and give it to Mueller. It hits the skate of Regner, and then the Stars scramble, and it's the veteran in Brian Flynn who wheels it off the wall, but it ends up with an icing call, and the Toronto Marlies are going to continue along. 1:21 to go.
Mueller, Altonen ripped a shot. McKenna the save, a huge save by McKenna. Back up, Rosen lifts it down to Mueller. He has to move it quickly. Smith looking back out front. Back to Mueller, waiting on it. Smith, side of the goal, out front, right in the feet of McKenna. And Altonen tried to get there, but McKenna hopped on top of it.
Wow. The veteran goaltender, 35-year-old Mike McKenna, as Ben Smith and Mueller playing a little pitch and catch. And Mueller back to Smith, and then he's going to try and throw it out front because he sees Altonen, and McKenna gets a piece of it with his stick, and he almost knocks it between his own legs, and it just goes off his skate, and then he scrambles and covers it for the whistle.
Mueller again in for the draw. A minute 2, Flynn opposite. Left to go, McKenna's been good. He's going to have to be real good here as Janssen reaches forward into the corner. Knocked back along the near wall. Wide of the mark again as Hall races back, and it is picked up for icing one more time.
Wow. And Brian Flynn trying to seal the deal for the Texas Stars as he's got the open goal. And the battle down in the corner, and the Stars come up with the puck, and he decides he's going to give it a crack, and he misses the goal. So we'll have another face-off in the Toronto zone, 51.3 seconds.
Mueller again. Just keeps trying to win him. And it gets knocked back to the line. This one is going to be picked up by Dickinson as he hammers it but doesn't get it by Hall. And now here come the Marlies with 40 seconds left. Janssen will grab it up from Rosen, and then he'll fire it in. Hetherington trying to get there. Hall back for Ben Smith, lifted back up at the line. Rosen drives it back down deep. Mueller looking to move it along. He's taken to the boards and down. And now they scramble along the near side. It comes loose briefly. Rosen still with it. Back to Mueller, centering it. And it is Dickinson who can't play it. Back out at the line. It comes less than 10 seconds. Mueller turns around, cross ice. Justin Hall trying to get it to the goal. Dickinson lifts it out. And the Stars are going to win game number 4. Hetherington and Mueller at the end of this game. Get into it. Smith comes in after it too. McKenna's in there. as well. And now Flynn just starts pinwheeling his arms on Moore. Mueller steps away from it. And Moore as well. And Flynn takes another shot at Moore at the end of this one.
Wow.
What a finish.
I'll tell you, the Toronto Marlies, they didn't leave anything on the ice, that's for sure. They left it all out there, and they weren't able to come up with enough possession time to get the equalizer late in the game, and the Texas Stars survived the flurry at the end, and as a result, we're tied up here at 2 games apiece here in the Calder Cup Finals.
Well, whoever wins this one now is going to win it in Toronto, as the scene will shift. But Saturday night is a critical game now, Bob.
No question about it. You know, it's the last time we're going to play in Texas this season, and the winner of game number 5 will have the advantage as we're going to head back to Toronto for a game come Monday or Tuesday night.
We are seeing the end of this hockey game. The game 4, 3-2 was the final. And we will be back to wrap things up here from Cedar Park, Texas, where the Stars win game number 4, 3-2.
Do pregame rituals actually work? And